Hey, what's going on, sports fans? My name is TJ Jones. Welcome to another edition of the State of the NFL podcast. And we have a good one for you. The battle of two young quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Minnesota. And the game just kicked off. And already you have already you have B. John Robinson out there acting a plumb fool. Basically broke one for a big time game, got the boys on the 25-yard line. Got them at the 40-yard line, And here's another handoff. This is the B. John Robinson. He cuts up the middle and he runs. And this guy's getting chunk after chunk. So credit to the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons opening up holes for B. John Robinson to run through. Man, this guy has been playing pretty motivated as of late. So credit to B. John Robinson showing he's an overall, he's a well-rounded back. He can catch the ball out of backfield and run in between the tackles. So this should be a very interesting game. The Minnesota Vikings coming off that impressive win against Chicago, but now they got to defend their home turf. All right, Darnell Mooney in motion. Here's another handoff to B. John Robinson. He cuts and he gets up the field. So right now, B. John is basically getting 5-10 yards per clip, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Special shout out to everybody watching this right now. Once again, this is the Watchalong here on the State of the NFL. We do this every single week. So if you're into that type of stuff, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'll make sure I put the link inside of the comments for those that may be checking it out on other channels that are available here. All right, so we got Michael Penix in a gun. This is a 2nd and 5. They hand the ball off to B. John again, but this time he trips down, and that's better defensive coverage right there by Allen and crew to be able to get him down. All right, so we take a look at this defense, man. We know Brian Flores is a really good defensive coordinator. He's a guy that's not afraid to blitz. And this is an opportunity probably for him to try to blitz Michael Penix, try to get him off his spot. We know Minnesota Vikings, they love to blitz. They love to play man-to-man coverage to try to get the quarterbacks off their spot. But Michael Penix is not afraid to scramble. All right, so Kyle Pitts in motion. You got 0, and I believe you got a timeout right here. So they were able to get a timeout before the play clock expired. Would have been a delay of game, and a 5-yard penalty would have backed them up a little further. All right, so it's going to be a good game, man. I think this is going to be a good game. I think that both teams are going to come in. They're going to bring their A game, and they're going to try to win this thing, man. I don't think neither team is going to lay down. They understand the magnitude of this game, the legacy that they're trying to create, and the culture that they're trying to create. And these are the type of games that you need to win, in order for your fan base to feel like you're trending in the right direction. All right, so here we go. We take a look at Brian Flores here, defensive coordinator. A lot of people feel like he should still be a head coach. All right, so 3rd and 4 for the Atlanta Falcons. They are bringing the blitz. They are dialing it up early in the game. So Michael Penix trying to get the adjustments straight. You got Kyle Pitts in motion. He's looking, and we got a flag on the play. So you got a false start. So the Minnesota crowd is playing a factor early in the game. So on a very promising opening drive by the Atlanta Falcons, you have B. John Robinson just running all over the place. Now you have them going a little bit, going backwards. So this has been the issue with the Atlanta Falcons. You're getting all these positive yards. The offense is humming, and then all of a sudden, here come the penalties that just kind of stunt. They're just trying to stunt the development that you're creating for yourself. But it is 3rd and 9, and we see Minnesota showing blitz. Are they going to bring the blitz, or are they disguising it here? They decide to disguise it, and they're trying to get pressure plenty of time, and that pass is connected, but it is short. Really good tackle right there by the safety. Kyle Pitts, big guy, about 6'5", about 240, and a really good tackle right there. really good tackle. I mean, if you would not have made that tackle, then we're probably talking about Kyle Pitts scoring a touchdown there. So you definitely did not want that. So it is fourth down. You got some momentum going. So Atlanta is going to try to go for it on a 4th and 1. Very manageable here. And let's see if. All right, so here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And they don't get it off again. And that is a flag. So once again, miscommunication by the Atlanta Falcons, not being able to line up correctly, has cost them an opportunity to possibly convert a 4th down. Instead, they're going to have to bring out the field goal unit. Man, these are the type of miscues that get you beat in games. They had really good momentum, really good solid runs by Bijan Robinson, and then all of a sudden they started to go backwards. All right, so we got Parker Romo, who has been in the league for quite some time, but now Younghoe Koo is not on the team. So it is a 38-yard field goal. Let's see if Parker Romo can get it done. Snap, placement, kick on the way, and that kick, and he got it through. It looked like it was going to be no good, but he made the kick. So the Falcons get on the board. They get on the board early. And like I said, let's see if JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings can respond to what just transpired just a minute ago. Thank you all for being here. Really do appreciate it. No matter where you are, wherever you may be, this is a Watchalong. The Atlanta Falcons on the road versus the Minnesota Vikings. The Atlanta Falcons strike first with a 38-yard field goal by Parker Romo. Looked like he was going to shank it, man. But he ends up making it. So, and, this is going to be a very fun game. Let's see what they can do. All right, shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the State of the NFL, make sure that you do so. Help the channel to grow. Really would appreciate that. And right now, what I'm doing is just trying to get everything kind of set up. Make sure this is very interactive. So if you got questions about your team, maybe your team is not playing in this game, we'll be talking about some of the games that took place on today, including a thriller out in Indianapolis where the Indianapolis Colts knocked off the Denver Broncos 29-28. It came down to a procedure penalty that cost the Denver Broncos the game. So very, very interesting turn of events down the stretch in that game. Then also a very fun game in Dallas. You had Russell Wilson throwing it for over 400 yards, game winners to overtime. You also had a game of the rematch of the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs falling to 0-2, man, for the first time since Andy Reid's second year with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the first time, man, this is crazy, Patrick Mahomes has ever been 0-2 in his career. So not time to panic as long as you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on your team, but it's just very uncharted territory that the Chiefs are indeed in. All right, so game is back on. Of course, they're going to be profiling Michael Penix and JJ McCarthy. These are two guys who met in the national championship a couple of years ago, where JJ McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines were able to knock off the Washington Huskies and Michael Penix in the national championship game. And both of these guys were drafted in the same draft, of course. JJ McCarthy had a torn meniscus last year, which cost him his entire season. Michael Penix came on towards the end of the season when Kirk Cousins, former Minnesota Viking, was the starting quarterback. So both guys are trying to create a legacy for themselves and being a part of an organization. All right, so here's the return right here. All right. So here we go. 1st and 10. 1st and 10 ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. All right, JJ McCarthy. That pass is slid, but it is completed. Yeah, so Jalen Naylor actually gets the first down. Well, excuse me, not the first down, but gets a few yards on the play on first down. And they're going to be counting on him, especially since Jordan Addison is still on suspension. And you know that JJ, Justin Jefferson, will be double teamed. I mean, I understand that the Falcons have AJ Terrell out there, but I don't think that you want him to be one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. All right, so here we go. 2nd and 8. Jefferson in motion. Here's the handoff. This is to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones tries to get up the middle, and he does get back to the line of scrimmage, but that's about it. David Onyemata on the play. So this is going to bring up 3rd down. So the Atlanta Falcons right now are trying to seize momentum. You already got a field goal with Parker Romo, and now you're trying to get a 3 and out on Minnesota's first possession. And we have seen the Minnesota Vikings, they start really slow in these games. Started very slow versus Chicago. Seemed like things weren't going the right way. And now we have JJ McCarthy in a 3rd and 7, and he's in a gun. You got Naylor in motion. Here's the snap. McCarthy looking. He scrambles. All right, trying to make somebody miss. Goes one-on-one, and he dives. And he gets tackled by Jesse Bates, but depending on the spot, all right, so they're saying it's a 4th down. He was very close to getting a first down. You got to check and see. I think that may have been a first down. But you have to ask yourself a question. Very early in the game, are you going to take that risk? On 4th and inches, get a little sneak going. They try to pursue forward, and I don't think he got it. I don't think he got it, ladies and gentlemen. I do not believe he got it. I don't think he got it. I think that's going to be first down Atlanta. I didn't see. It depends on the spot. I believe that's short. That is extremely short. So the Atlanta Falcons getting a stop on 4th down. And Raheem Morris is fired up. I mean, justifiably so. I don't know what happened here. Well, it seemed like he may have got the ball a little bit late. It looked like there was a issue with the snap, which caused, okay, so it looks like there was a little issue with the snap. The ball is bobbled. And with that, caused for the pile to just, him not to be able to go forward. I mean, the pile just landed on top of him. He didn't have the football. It was short. So bad exchange between center and JJ McCarthy there. But this sets up the Atlanta Falcons with some really good field position in plus territory on the 1st and 10. And we have seen Bijan Robinson pretty much run wild very early in this game. And here's a handoff to Bijan. Bijan gets to the right. He gets around the side, and Murphy corrals him down, but he does get about 4 or 5 yards on the play. So the Atlanta Falcons are making it known very, very early that they are going to use Bijan early and often in this game. And Minnesota is going to have to, they're going to have to tackle this guy. I mean, just a guy who made something out of nothing on that play is Bijan Robinson. I mean, very early. I mean, we're 8 minutes. We got 8 minutes left in the first quarter. This man already got 53 yards. So unless Minnesota can stop him, he's in for a career night. All right, here's the play action. Tosses it off. Gives it off to Bijan Robinson, making somebody miss. Goes around, and he gets a first down and a little bit more. And I want to say, man, maybe that ball touched the ground. Did the ball touch the ground? That's the question. If this ball didn't touch the ground on this screen pass, this is really good stuff by Bijan. And it did not. Bijan Robinson, that ball did not. Wait a minute. Oh, yes, it did. It did touch the ground, ladies and gentlemen. So you might want to challenge that play. From the first angle, it looked like he caught it. The second angle, it was pretty clear that the ball indeed hit the ground. So that pass is going to be incomplete. The pressure that was in the face of Michael Penix, he made the right decision, getting the ball off to Bijan. Bijan had the block set up, but he did not secure that catch. You have to believe that this is going to be an incomplete pass. Good thing this chat is PG and keep it clean. I would have to say something people won't like it. I know you mad Peyton left, huh? What we talking about? I don't know. I guess we talking about a bunch of stuff in here. I know a lot of things have transpired in the chat. I'm pretty sure since we started the show here. All right. Says Big Play Sports says Skol. Guess we got a Minnesota Viking fan here. And shout out to you, man. Thank you for spending a little bit of your night with us, watching the game, Minnesota, Atlanta with us on a 3rd and 3. All right. So the pass is indeed incomplete. It is confirmed by the fine folks upstairs. And now we have the Atlanta Falcons on a 3rd and 3, trying to convert and trying to keep this drive going. Putting the pressure on Minnesota early in Minnesota. All right, so here we go. 3rd and 3. We got Michael Penix in the gun. Minnesota is sending pressure. You got Darnell Mooney. That's a quick pass right there. Quick slant. And that pass is complete. And that's to Kyle Pitts. Enough for the first down. So Michael Penix again converting. So it's very early in this game, but you're pretty much seeing what Atlanta is trying to do here. They're keeping the Minnesota Vikings on their toes. They're getting the ball out really quick. They understand that Brian Flores likes to blitz. So trying to get the ball out really, really fast before that defense can get pressure on Michael Penix. All right, so here we go. Kyle Pitts, expecting a big year out of him. The offense is moving. You got Drake London in motion. Here we go, in the gun. Here's a pass. That pass is caught to Bijan Robinson. He gets about 5 yards on a play. So right now, the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, they look extremely crisp. For the exception of some of those penalties that had them going backwards that caused the field goal, they pretty much been able to do whatever they wanted, rather it's running the football or throwing the football to guys like Bijan Robinson or Kyle Pitts. So this is a 2nd and 5. 2nd and 5, and you can get a 1st and goal on here. So they still can get a first down, even though they're in the red zone. Drake London in motion here. Snap. Penix looking, and he throws the ball, and it's incomplete, intended for Darnell Mooney there. Excuse me, Bijan Robinson, but Bijan Robinson can't corral that, so it's going to bring up 3rd and 5. Now, if you're Minnesota, right now you're trying to stop the bleeding. You're trying to stop the bleeding. Best case scenario here is a field goal, trying to force Atlanta to kick a field goal. But if they end up getting into this end zone, we're talking about a very early 10-0 deficit they're going to have to overcome. Now, we know that the Minnesota Vikings are capable of doing this, but you don't want to be one of those teams that have to do this kind of stuff every single week. All right, so here we go. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, Mooney in motion. Penix looking, plenty of time. Tries to get around the side. Can he get the first down? He throws the ball, and that pass is incomplete. That's intended for Darnell Mooney. So once again, the Minnesota Vikings defense bends but doesn't break, and is going to set up a field goal. And if you're the Atlanta Falcons, as well as you've been playing this first quarter, you've pretty much been dominant. You still have not been able to cash it in with touchdowns. You're still keeping teams around when you're not doing these things. When you're not cashing them in, when you're just getting field goals instead of touchdowns, you're keeping these teams around. All right, so here we go. Parker Romo with a 29-yard field goal. Should be pretty much a chip shot here. Snap, placement, kick on the way, and that is good. So a much better kick than the first one. But that is the best case scenario if you are the Minnesota Vikings, being down 6-0 instead of 10-0. So JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings are going to try to figure this thing out as they get on the field on offense. TJ, that kicker was excited like he just made a kick to go to the NFC Championship. Well, I mean, there was a guy who was on the street last week, King Arthur. So, man got a job and kicking the first field goal. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of pressure. The reason why you're there is because the kicker that they had wasn't very good, right? I mean, so you got to live up to like certain expectations of being better than the kicker that they originally had. So, I mean, that's a lot of pressure for that guy. But lucky for him, he was able to kind of weather that. The Colts look like a good team. Yeah, they look like a very scrappy team, man. Like they look like a team that uh understands that this is a make or break year for a lot of guys, right? Shane Steichen, their general manager. You got to keep in mind. I mean, the guy Jim Irsay, who hired them, is no longer with us. He passed away. His daughter takes over. I believe her name is Carly. I think that she's doing a really good job. She's very involved. People always talk about her like being on the field. She's out there with the headset on. She's taking notes like she's a coach, and she's very involved. And I'm pretty sure she wants what's best for the organization. So if Shane Steichen and the general manager and these players can't get it done in a very winnable AFC South, you have to wonder like what's going to be the future of these guys. So they're playing for jobs here. This is about job security. Daniel Jones, this might be his last shot from being like considered seriously a starting quarterback. And Danny Dimes has been doing an outstanding job. Maybe this is one of those situations where a guy just needs to go to a smaller market where there's not so much pressure and you don't have all the sharks in the water like you do at some of these big time mainstream sports towns like Philly, like New York. Maybe, a town like Indianapolis might be a very, comforting area for Daniel Jones where he can go out there and just play the quarterback position. And people don't worry about where he's going to spend, his evening or who he's dating or all this other stuff that can garner distractions and make fans turn on you. So I like Daniel Jones. Seems like he is this version of this year's Sam Darnold, getting respect and gaining respect back one throw at a time. See, TJ, after this week, it seems the Cardinals are going to be a much better team. Yeah, I mean, they look pretty good today. I mean, credit to the Carolina Panthers. They fired back. They were down pretty big in that game. Well, I think 27-9, but here's a return. All right, so we got a flag on a play. More than likely, it's going to be on a return team. Okay, we got some pushing and shoving here. It looked like somebody may have threw a punch, but let's see what we got here. I'm pretty sure it's on a return team. Most of the time on these special teams plays is always pretty much on a return team. Yeah, it always seems to be the case. All right, Naylor in motion on his 1st and 10. All right, and here's the handoff to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones bounces, and it takes him to the right, and he's able to leap over a defender and get about 7-8 yards on the play. So you have to believe that this is a big drive for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not saying they got to score in this drive, but you want to kind of get something going here. Try to get yourself in a rhythm. If you don't get yourself in a rhythm, it can cost you, because right now this first quarter has definitely been dominated by the Atlanta Falcons. Seems like they're starting off a little bit stagnant here. All right, we got look like they're sending pressure here. Caden Ellis, this is a handoff to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones bouncing around the side. He gets stiff, tries to stiff arm, but he gets tackled right away. All right, 3rd and 2. JJ McCarthy and a gun. It looked like the Atlanta Falcons are bringing pressure here, and they do. And he gets sacked right away. And I believe that's rookie James Pierce Jr. on the play. So that's going to be a 3 and out. Just like that. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are looking dominant in the first quarter as they're flexing their muscle against the Minnesota Vikings. Unbelievable, man. I mean, but if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, this is what you want to see. You want to see a young stud, your rookie out of Tennessee, a guy who ran what a 4.340. We know that he can get to the quarterback. We know that he can do all those things. The question was, can he keep it all together? A lot of off the field issues, but in the right situation, this guy can indeed thrive. All right, so here we go. Here it is, and all right, so he fair catches offered, and now the Atlanta Falcons got the ball again. Berto somewhere hype clap in his hand. This will be a good week too if the Bucs and Falcons wet the bed. Yeah, man. I mean, look, but it looked like the Falcons came to play tonight. I'm not even gonna hit on them. They look like they came out there, look like they trying to play. But it's always it's not like them coming out to play. It's the fact that late in games when they just can't close. That's the issue. That's the issue. But they look like they came to play. I mean, they're trying to take the crowd out of the game. They're trying to run the football, trying to establish the run. Trying to set up some shots down the field. So it seems like when they get to the red zone, that's when they seem to kind of get stuck in the mud there. So if they can actually convert in the red zone, I think that this game can be quite interesting. But we know the Minnesota Vikings kind of start late. They start a little late, so maybe that's just one of those situations there. They'll melt when the temperature gets hot. Oh, man. Look, man, I look, all I know is this don't surprise me because they're a talented football team. But when it all comes down to it, can they close the deal? That's the big question. Can they close the deal tonight? If the opportunity presents itself, if they need to go out there and they need to ball out, can they close the deal? That's all I want to know. All right, so here we go. 1st and 10. You got Moody in a gun and play action. Penix looking, and he checks it down. That pass is caught, and that's the Tyler Algier, but there's a flag on the play. So let's see what this flag is all about. This has been the only thing really that's been stopping the Atlanta Falcons from really, imposing their will. But let's see what we got. All right, so here we go. It's pretty obvious there that Murphy was kind of holding past the 5-yard mark, so that's going to be illegal contact on Byron Murphy, who is a very talented cornerback, man. But sometimes he can get a little handsy at times. He's a very physical guy. He's not afraid to get into the breastplate of a wide receiver. But sometimes, man, those hands get the best of him, and it causes for those illegal contact and pass interference penalties called. All right, so here we go. We see that Bijan's getting a little bit of a break. We see Tyler Algier in the backfield. And now Minnesota, once again, their defense is going to have to take a stand again, make sure that no damage is really done here. So here's the handoff. This is the Tyler Algier. He barrels forward, takes the crowd with him, and gets about 6 or 7 yards on the play. So really tough running by Tyler Algier, a guy who on most teams, man, probably would be a featured back. But when you have a talented all-world type running back and Bijan Robinson, a player like Tyler Algier kind of gets lost in the shuffle, man. But he definitely is their power back, a guy that can get those tough yards and in situations like 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1. But he is capable of being an every down back. Really good complimentary guy. All right, so 2nd and 5 for the Atlanta Falcons. You got Drake London in motion, who hasn't really been a factor, and Tyler Algier barrels forward, and that's enough for a first down. So credit to the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. Seem like they're getting penetration. They're pushing the defensive line of Minnesota back, and you're seeing these running backs taking advantage of these offensive linemen doing their job. And if you can actually get the running game going, and they really got a really good yard per carry average right now. You can set up explosive plays down the field because teams are going to have to kind of respect the fact that you're able to run on them. All right, so Darnell Mooney in motion, and this is a play action. Comes around the side, he throws, and that pass is caught again by Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts has been very active early in the game. And if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, you have to be excited about what you're seeing from Kyle Pitts, man, because Drake London has yet to get a target, and Darnell Mooney only has one. But it seems like Kyle Pitts is answering a call. I mean, you have some guys that have been dealing with injuries. Drake London, I believe, Darnell Mooney, they didn't know if they were going to be playing or not. So they're relying on guys like Kyle Pitts and Bijan to carry the load here. All right, so here we go. 1st and 10. Tight end in motion. And let's see. We see like got a flag here. So that's going to be a false start on Atlanta. Probably doing a little bit too much, being a little bit too cute there. And now they're going 5 yards back. So 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Atlanta pretty much been dominant this entire first quarter. Minnesota barely has been on the field offensively. And now you have a little bit more of an insurmountable climb here, going back 5 yards. But throughout this entire first quarter, Atlanta has been extremely effective offensively, so it doesn't really matter the yardage here. Minnesota is going to have to find a way to get these guys off the field. Too much momentum is shifting the way of Atlanta. All right, so it looked like they're pretty much going to try to do the same play here, but this time it's a play action, and you got Michael Penix. He zips it, and that pass is caught to Drake London, and it's a football picked up by the defense of the Minnesota Vikings. And just like that, Drake London had two things in front of him, space and opportunity, tries to make somebody miss, tries to put out the stiff arm, Derrick Henry style, and a peanut punch by Wilson. My goodness. And that is exactly what Minnesota needed, because it seemed like the momentum was going towards the way of the Atlanta Falcons. Unbelievable. Drake London coughing it up. Got a little bit of a cold there, but nevertheless, Minnesota ball when they return from break. Shouts out to everybody here right now. This is the Watchalong, Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. And like I said, the Atlanta Falcons seemed like all the momentum was shifting their way. It seemed like Minnesota was on the ropes, and then all of a sudden, here comes Wilson punching the ball out and getting the ball back to his team, man. Credit to Eric Wilson out there, man, doing some really big things, because that was definitely needed, man. That was definitely needed. TJ, why do the Saints start so slow? I have no idea, man. I think they started pretty fast in today's game. They were able to get down the field. They were able to have some explosive plays. We know Rashid Shaheed with the one-hand catch, and we also seen, the pass by Chris Olave, man, which should have been a touchdown. But, I mean, I think they started pretty fast today. That wasn't the issue. The issue was the defense giving up explosive plays to Mac Jones and Dwayne Jennings and that 49ers offense. I don't think the defense had their best showing today. So I think that was the biggest issue. I think the Saints started pretty fast, to be honest. Hit that ball with the peanut punch. Yeah, hit him with the peanut punch. But that was what was needed. The fact that, Drake London, he got a little careless with the football. He's thinking about the stiff arm, but he wasn't thinking about ball security. And you got to be able to do both. You got to be focused on ball security, as well as trying to deliver a stiff arm to get those extra yards. Let's see. Action you shall receive, TJ. They just need to catch balls. Yeah, I mean, if we talking about the Saints, yeah, definitely. They definitely need to have, some wide receivers step up in crucial moments. But I mean, this is so necessary for a defense to be able to get a stop, man, because Minnesota looked like they were on the ropes, man. And if Atlanta would have went out there and scored that touchdown, I mean, I don't know, momentum definitely would have been in favor of the Falcons. So here we go. Tight end in motion. There's a play action. McCarthy looking. That pass is, and that's caught. And for the first time tonight, we see him deliver a pass to JJ, Justin Jefferson. So JJ to JJ for the first down. All right. So as you just heard, 500 receptions for Justin Jefferson, man. So the man is just an incredibly talented wide receiver. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. Definitely one of the best wide receivers in the game. And now he's lined up against AJ Terrell in man coverage. You have to wonder, are they going to exploit that here or try to go one-on-one? But here he goes. Here's the handoff here. And this is to Mason, former San Francisco 49er, and he gets absolutely nothing. So credit to the defensive front of the Atlanta Falcons, man. I mean, David Onyemata has been extremely active in this game. A really good guy when it comes to run stopping, doing a really good job there. So at the end of the day, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need those big hog mollies up front, those big run stuffing defensive tackles to be able to get these stops. And right now, if you're Minnesota, you got to convert this first down here. All right, so here we go. We got Hockenson in motion. Here's the handoff. This is a late handoff, and he barrels forward, and Mason gets the first down on that carry. And we know that Mason is capable. I mean, when Christian McCaffrey was down last season, he was the guy that stepped up and made plays. And that is what Minnesota needs, a complimentary back. Aaron Jones is getting up there in age, so they need that young, physical running back on their team, and Mason can provide that. TJ, for all our faults, we still have the talent to pull these games out. Players have to execute. Also, I think Riley, should get some reps. Yeah, Quincy Riley for the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, they probably end up going that route, man. They probably end up going that route. But we'll have to see, we'll have to see in the next couple of weeks what the adjustments are for the New Orleans Saints. But I do want to address like some of the other games that were part of the early slate of games that they had in the National Football League. And I want to start with the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. Now, the Cowboys get the victory in overtime, 40-37. A lot of late fourth quarter heroics by both teams. You had Russell Wilson, who delivered a dime breezy to Malik Neighbors for the big-time touchdown. And credit to Brandon Aubrey, all right, kicking a 64-yard field goal to send the Dallas Cowboys into overtime. And, the Cowboys were able to kick another field goal to win the game. So credit to Russell Wilson. I mean, for all the criticism that he takes, and everybody talking about Jackson Dart playing. Well, how about this? 30 for 41, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Had a quarterback rating of 123. How about that for a response? Cam Scatterboo, 11 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. So Scatty getting busy in the game. Malik Neighbors, 9 catches for 167 yards, was targeted 13 times. How about Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 catches for 142 yards? What's the most frustrating thing about it is you got your backups and your third and fourth string guys making plays. Darius Slayton, 2 catches for 61 yards. Tyrone Tracy, 4 catches for 36. I mean, they were making plays, but credit to the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 38 of 52, 361 yards and 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 96. Javonte Williams, who ran the ball really well, averaging 5.4 carry, 18 carries for 97 yards. You can tell that both of these teams wanted this game. CeeDee Lamb bouncing back, was targeted 11 times and caught 9 of them for 112 yards. I mean, the NFC East, All of those teams look like they are hungry, but everybody is chasing Philadelphia, in my opinion, with the way that Philadelphia was able to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead the way that they did. I think that everybody is basically looking up to the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, so here we go. It's a check down to Mason. He gets a few yards on the play, so about 2 or 3 yards he gets on that play right there to start the second quarter. So what JJ McCarthy wants to do is not start as slow as he did against Chicago. You want to make sure that you're making plays, getting the ball into the hands of your playmakers, and also minimizing mistakes here. All right, so we take a look at Billy Bowman, who was a 4th-round selection in this year's draft out of the University of Oklahoma. And, you know, you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they are susceptible of a big-time play down the field by their secondary. All right, McCarthy rolling to his left, and he tries to get some yards here, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage a little bit more, knocks down his teammate, little friendly fire there, but it's still going to bring up 3rd down. So really good pursuit by the Atlanta Falcons. You had defensive end staying home, and, you know, we have Kevin O'Connell here, really good coach, really good quarterback whisperer. Seems like every quarterback that he works with always seems to find themselves and find success. So we know Sam Darnold was the quarterback of Minnesota, had them winning 13 games last season, and now he's the starting quarterback of the Seahawks. So 3rd and 6 for JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. Snap, looking. He throws, and that is caught by Naylor. A little high, but Naylor is able to get up and get the 1st down. And, man, that is definitely what the doctor ordered for the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings definitely need to sustain this drive and try to come away with some points. All right, so you got your one-on-one, really good blitz pickup right there by Mason. McCarthy is able to deliver the ball a little high, but credit to Naylor coming down, catching the ball, and that is what they need from him. He is that number 2 guy while Jordan Addison is out with that suspension. All right, so here we go. Naylor in motion, and here's a handoff. This is a handoff to Mason. Mason gets around the corner, and he gets about 5 or 6 yards on a play. That's going to bring up 2nd down. Said TJ, you streaming live for the game tomorrow? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All primetime games this season, more than likely, I will be streaming them. I'll be streaming them. Hello. TJ, where are you on Russ? I think that Russ isn't what he used to be, but he's still a serviceable quarterback. All right, so here we go. We got some movement up front on the, I want to say the right guard here. All right, so that's on Will Fries. So that is the guard, Will Fries, on the false start there. Got a little bit happy right there. Got a little happy, but nonetheless, you know, you still got a chance to convert on this 2nd and 9. All right, we got Mason, a heavy dose of Mason in this game so far. Mason gets around the corner. He barrels forward, spins around, and takes the crew with him, and he gets very close to the 1st down. Really good 2nd and 3rd effort by Mason, and also credit to that offensive line being able to push him forward. Okay, so it's 3rd down and about 1, but that was Mason. I mean, just showing really good pad level there, really good strength. You got Jackson pulling him and dragging him to the 1st down mark. Anything they can do to try to get this 1st down because they need it in a major way. All right, so anyway, a 3rd and 1. Taking a look at Kevin O'Connell again. We got JJ McCarthy at the gun. Jefferson in motion, and he handed off to Mason, and he gets enough for the 1st down. So keep those chains moving, ladies and gentlemen. They continue to have this slow, methodical drive, but this is what you need. Your defense has been on the field way too long. Way too long. So this type of drive right here gives the defense an opportunity to get a little bit of rest, get a bit of Gatorade, and be able to get back out there to try to attack the Atlanta offense. But really good running so far by Jordan Mason. And now we got a little bit of a change of pace here as Aaron Jones returns to the game. And here's the snap. and looking, and that play looked like that was just blew up from the get-go. And credit, again, pressure. And this time, Leonard Floyd, who played for the Buffalo Bills, had 10.5 sacks last season. And now he signed with the Atlanta Falcons for a one-year deal. And he's a really good, strong pass rusher, man. A guy that you can truly rely on in these type of situations. But this play looked like it was a tad bit on a confusing side from the get-go. I don't know if Aaron Jones was supposed to stay in and try to block, or maybe JJ was supposed to get the ball out pretty quickly. All right, but anyway, it's a 2nd and 18. JJ McCarthy looking. He throws, and that pass is knocked loose. It was intended for TJ Hawkinson. So I believe that's Diablo, a former Las Vegas Raider, and has been paying dividends since he came over from the Raiders to the Atlanta Falcons. He's been pretty spectacular. All right, so there's a guy that has really good tackling skills. He has really good coverage skills. And he's trying to bring that to the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so anyway, Jordan Mason in motion. This is a 3rd and 18. Here's the snap. JJ McCarthy looking, and he throws the ball down the field, and that pass is incomplete. Wait a minute, they're saying that it was caught. Adam Thielen, Minnesota's own, gets the first down, and we got to see, but it looks like it was a catch here. He secures the catch, and yeah, I think it was a catch. So I don't see any video so far that it hit the ground. So really good clutch play by Adam Thielen, and I don't think we see a flag. Nobody's going to challenge it, and no, they won't. So JJ McCarthy looking, throws the ball down the field, and that pass is caught to Naylor. So Naylor coming in clutch once again. JJ McCarthy seems like he's feeling it. And now that sets up 1st and goal for the Minnesota Vikings. Man, momentum is a funny thing. It started off with all the momentum in the world, and with the Atlanta Falcons, and the next thing you know, here comes a forced fumble, and JJ McCarthy looked like he's finding his stride. And you got Naylor out there making plays. You got Jordan Mason making plays. You got Adam Thielen keeping drives alive. Speaking of Naylor, he's in motion. Oh, bad toss. Oh, he's looking and turns around, and he just throws it down the field, and it's almost complete. I don't know what that was, but it looked damn exciting. It looked like he bobbled the snap. He composes himself, rolls to the right, tries to get the ball to JJ, but it comes up incomplete. So here we go. I don't know. It looked like he maybe had some popcorn on the sidelines, but he's able to regain himself, pick the ball up. Really good play, trying to make something out of nothing by JJ McCarthy, but you got to hold on to the football. Ball security is extremely important, especially down on the goal line. You want to try to come away with at least 3 points. You lose that, and you don't get absolutely nothing. So here we go. Here's the snap, and here's a whistle, and that's a delay of game. So that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Adam Thielen turning back the clock. Yeah, it seems that way. But, Adam Thielen has always been a really good receiver, even when he was with Carolina. He never lost that. But he just wanted to come back to Minnesota. He understands that he only has a few years left. He's probably going to retire. But, his best way to retire is the team that you started with. All right, so 2nd and goal. You got Minnesota going backwards here. Got to make something happen. All right, so here's the play action. And here we go again. Another sack on the play. And that is Jalen Walker with the sack. So you got both of your first-round picks getting active in the first half. You got Jalen Walker and you got James Pierce. So if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, that's definitely what you wanted to see. The Atlanta Falcons paid a king ransom for both guys. So they definitely need these two guys to make some plays, and they have done just that. All right, so here we go. JJ looking. Try to scramble up in the pocket, and again he gets sacked. And this time, this is a collective effort between James Pierce and the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. So back-to-back sacks, pressure all over JJ McCarthy, and now they're going to have to settle for a field goal. So it once again, both teams had opportunities to maybe cash it in, started to go back, being victims of delayed of game penalties, and now you had back-to-back sacks, and now you have to settle for a 33-yard field goal, and here we go. And Will Riker knocks it through on a 33-yard field goal. So finally, Minnesota is on the board, not the way that they wanted, but nonetheless, they're still on the board. So now it's Atlanta's turn to get back out there and try to make something happen. Terrell getting cooked. This dude, McCarthy, holds the ball way too long, takes unnecessary sacks. Yeah, I mean, that's just being a young, inexperienced quarterback. I mean, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to try to, maybe hold the ball a little bit too long to try to maybe allow the wide receivers to break off their routes so they can make something happen. But sometimes you just got to live to fight another day, especially down in the red zone. This quarterback play is like watching the 80s Saints versus the 80s Bucks. Well, I think that Michael Penix been playing pretty well. I think he's been playing pretty well so far. What are you, 5 of 8, 57 yards? I mean, he's been getting the ball out. I mean, JJ, for the most part, 6 of 8, 61 yards. I think where it always comes down to, Josh, is, the decision-making when pressure is in their face. What are you doing? You can't just take the sack and keep going backwards if you're JJ McCarthy. And, as far as Michael Penix, I mean, I can't really say, he's made a bad decision based on pressure being in his face, which we know that Brian Flores wants to do that all game long. TJ, I have often thought of the 80s Bucks defense, including the 85 Bucks, was every bit as good as the 85 Bears defense. They just didn't get credit for it. Do you agree? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't really that privy, I don't want to say privy, but I don't have that much knowledge when it comes to the 85 Bucks. But I am familiar with the 85 Bears. They're known for being one of the best defenses of all time, with Buddy Ryan as their defensive coordinator, the godfather of the 46 defense. So they're always going to get a lot of credit, for being one of the best defenses of all time. I didn't really, follow the 85 Tampa Bay Buccaneers that much, but I definitely know about the 85 Bears, one of the best defenses of all time. TJ, I really like the matted look on the helmets. Yeah, I like them too, man. I think that that's a really good look for both teams. With the black matted helmet for the Falcons and the black matted helmets for Minnesota as well, man. But I think that both teams, they can care less about a uniform right now. They're trying to get this win. They're trying to get this win. They understand what this actually means. Not only they're not in the same division, but they're in the same conference. And these type of games can go a long way when we're talking about playoff positioning for both of these teams. All right, so here we go. He has a little bobble by Alford, and he's able to regain himself, tries to get around the side, and he gets about a pretty manageable return, all things considered. Could have been a lot worse. TJ, there are so many blitz beaters in the playbook. Why are Minnesota coaches not calling screens and other quick passes to beat Atlanta blitzing? Well, I think it probably has a lot to do with the scripted plays that they have to come up with in the first half. You'll probably see some adjustments being made in the second half. So you'll see probably a different version of them. A lot of these teams will be trying to figure out what these other teams are doing in the first half. Bijan Robinson barreling forward. He gets about 6 or 7 yards on the play. So once again, man, just the Atlanta Falcons running game has been extremely dominant tonight. I mean, Bijan is averaging 9 yards a carry right now. 9 yards a carry. He's 7 carries for 63 yards, and it don't seem like Minnesota really has an answer for him. So, if he continues to run, he'll get stronger as the game goes by. And around the third and fourth quarter, these defensive tackles do not want to keep on tackling a guy that is a force like Bijan. And here's another carry by Bijan. Really good footwork right there. Gets about a yard short. Maybe they'll give him the first down, but no, he's going to bring up third down. So it's a third and short. Third and short on the play. All right, so all they need is about 1 yard on the play. I mean, you're looking at Jake Matthews right here. I mean, just a guy who has just been steady throughout the years and definitely one of the best offensive linemen on the Atlanta Falcons team. Instead, they handed to Tyler Algier playing a little bit of a fullback role, and that's enough for a first down. So keep those chains moving for the Atlanta Falcons. So right now, if you're Minnesota, you're trying to get yourself a stop again. If you're Atlanta, you're trying to cash in because this is a big time drive for the Atlanta Falcons. They can definitely be able to put their foot on the gas and be able to do a little bit more defensively if they can get a little bit of separation in this game. All right, so Michael Penix in the gun, tight end in motion. You got a shift by the Minnesota Vikings, and they're looking here, bringing the pressure here. Pressure in the face of Michael Penix, and he gets absolutely destroyed on that play. And that is Dallas Turner, man. Dallas Turner, who has been with the team for quite a few years, a top pick coming out the draft. I mean, really good play, goes around, doesn't quit on a play, and just absolutely decapitates Michael Penix on that play. That is not the type of hit that you want to see your quarterback take. But Dallas Turner is a guy that Minnesota fans are looking to make some noise, man. Has not been as effective as they want him. They're bringing pressure again. They're bringing pressure into the face. And they tried to get the ball to Ray McCloud, but just absolutely gets steamrolled again by Eric Turner. I mean, these guys are hitting out here. So the physicality is starting to show. Minnesota is trying to turn it up a little bit. And now you're faced with a 3rd and 20. And trust and believe the Minnesota faithful are not going to allow these guys to even think. They're on their feet. They're clapping. They're trying to bring the crowd noise to try to get their defense off the field on a 3rd and 20. Clock is at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They get the snap off. Here comes. Plenty of time. Checks it down to Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson goes around the sides, tries to stay in bounds, tries to barrel forward, gets really close to the first down. But guess what? It is a 4th down, but really good effort by Bijan Robinson. Really good check down there by Michael Penix. Best case scenario for you just to get a few more yards there. All right, so here we go. Here's a punt. So Bradley Pinion is out there to punt the ball to Price for the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are trying to maybe facilitate a 2-minute drill here. So Miles Price is back to return the kick, and he receives it and right away gets tackled, wasting absolutely no time. And I mean absolutely no time is Mike Ford Jr. on the tackle. So 6-3. 6-3, ladies and gentlemen, in a defensive struggle here. Both defenses, offensive struggle, defenses came to play. I get the script, TJ, but why wait till you're behind the 8 ball to make an adjustment? Well, I guess because, man, it's kind of hard to like make those adjustments like in real time, like as the game going by, the ebbs and flow of the game. And then on top of that, like a lot of the early like plays that you see, like the first like 15 plays, I know you hear that all the time, are like already like scripted. So a lot of times teams just want to kind of stick to that game plan while they can go to the, they'll make certain adjustments on the fly, like when it comes to play calling. But the actual true adjustments normally happen at halftime when everybody can kind of get in there and kind of be on the same page. You can make necessary adjustments, but most teams kind of wait to the half to do that fully. TJ, you think we going to win a game? Oh yeah, man, the Saints gonna win a game. They're gonna win, man. I don't think they're not gonna go winless. And then on top of that, they improve every single week. This is a team that improves every single week. You see like little improvements to the game. I understand that, if you're a Saints fan, you want to see them win. But when you're a team that's rebuilding and trying to figure things out, you sometimes you got to look at the positive steps that your team makes versus like just, oh man, they ain't winning every week, because reality is they're not good enough to beat some of these elite teams right now. I think a lot of Saints fans are used to seeing the team be good enough to be able to go toe-to-toe with the NFL elite, but right now they're not that team. They're just trying to figure out how to win a football game. Dudes always want to wait till they're behind to make behind me to make some changes. Pathetic. The 8-ball. We always make backup quarterbacks look amazing. Oh man, that's a story for another day. But like I said, the credit to the Minnesota Vikings offense was able to get down the field, but also give credit to the defense of Atlanta, the young studs out there making plays and rushing the passer. This is going to be it's going to be a very, very tough game for the Minnesota Vikings offense if they cannot keep these young studs under control. Because right now, you get that sack and it becomes contagious. Guys want another and another. All right, so 1st and 10, JJ McCarthy in the gun. All right, here's a handoff off to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones gets around the side, barrels forward, gets about 6 yards on the play. All right, so oh man, I mean, having Kelly missing out of his lineup, that's huge, man. He's probably the best offensive lineman on his football team. All right, so here we go, Naylor. He's looking, and he throws it, and that pass is complete to Adam Thielen, and that's enough for a first down. So really good pass right there, really good catch by Adam Thielen. All right, so here we go. Justin Jefferson, who hasn't really been a factor in this game. He has a catch, but not anything other than that. So let's see if they try to get him involved for the last 2 minutes of the first half. All right, so in motion, here's a play action. JJ McCarthy looking, throws it, and that pass is intercepted by Billy Bowman. So JJ McCarthy, kind of similar to how it was on Monday night, starting off really, really slow, but really good catch right there. And that indeed is a catch. That is a really good catch by Billy Bowman Jr. there. I mean, that is a really good play right there. So right now, JJ McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell are trying to have a conversation here. All right. So here we go. And that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. Minnesota with some self-inflicted wounds, a lot of mistakes. JJ McCarthy looking very upset, very frustrated, and we already know what it is, man. He's a guy who gets a little bit fired up when he makes those type of mistakes. We seen it last week versus Chicago. He threw the pick six, turned to a touchdown. The next thing you know, he just snapped and had out-of-body experience and just could not be stopped down the stretch. Arch is not good. His first 2 games, he looks average. says hello. Yeah, I'm just wondering like what all that tank for arch type stuff happened. What all that happened. What happened with that? Um, dude, just I'm not I'm not gonna say he never going to be good. I'm just saying he's just not where everybody expect for him to be. He's making it mostly on what's on the back of his jersey, with the name on the back of his jersey. That's what's making it for him. He's a Manning. That's what's doing it. He's a Manning. So because you're a Manning, I mean, I guess you're supposed to be great just by association. But I haven't heard that in a while, especially like from Saints fans. I don't want Garrett Nussmeier either. TJ, you like Nussmeier? I think Nussmeier is a game manager. I don't think he's a guy that gonna lead you anywhere. I think that he's a guy, if you have a really good running game, really good defense, he might be able to be your quarterback. But if you're talking about a team that's struggling, oh, we need a future of the franchise, face of the franchise quarterback. No, he is not it. No. Never been sold on Nussmeier. And so far, I am not sold on Arch Manning yet. Let's see. How you make a Falcon video and not a Saints video? That's disgraceful, bro. If you call yourself a Saints fan. Man, what the hell is you talking about, dude? I got 1,800 episodes of the State of Saints podcast, including a post-game show, you freaking moron. If you would go into the archives instead of trying to be an a-hole about it, you'll see that we have plenty of episodes. This is the state of the NFL, and you also have the state of the Saints being a part of this live stream. So this is actually on the state of the NFL, but you wouldn't know that because you just got here and you're a moron. But thank you for being here anyway. But it's best for you to, people to see or believe that you're an idiot, for you to open up your mouth and erase all doubt. Bro, what is he talking about? I don't know what the hell he talking about. He's talking about Bayou Baller. Ain't nothing ball. Look, you definitely ain't a baller if you don't know what the State of the Saints podcast is. So you ain't balling at all. Okay, I just want to let you know that. If you don't know what the State of the Saints podcast is, then you definitely ain't no baller. And you definitely don't know ball. Let's see. Bayou Baller is obviously a real mofo. Yeah, I just want to know what he's smoking on, what he drinking on. This man said I call myself a Saints fan. Hell is you talking about, dude? Just the state of the NFL. If you're on the State of the Saints podcast, I appreciate it, but it's only, for, but this is basically a State of the NFL podcast. And hit the like button. Yeah, man. Look, I appreciate it if you do that, but we do have a injured player down, and that looks like Green. And you definitely don't want that. Okay, so he's running. Wait a minute. Maybe that's not. All right, so he gets a hold right there, goes around the side. And you got to keep in mind, folks, I mean, if you're the right tackle, you're basically the left tackle. You're basically the left tackle for a left-handed quarterback, and Michael Penix is left-handed. I watch you on the NFC South Roundtable, and you rarely have anything good to say about the team. Man, dude, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I must be getting punked right here. I got to be getting punked. You said I never have anything good to say about the team on the NFC South Roundtable. What do you want me to do? You want me to kiss the Saints' ass when the team is clearly rebuilding? So you want me to just put your mind at ease and say the Saints going to win every single game? Like, hell nah, bro. Hell nah. Hell nah. And if you came away from the NFC South Roundtable and you came to that conclusion, then once again, you don't know me, bro. I keep it real. I keep it 100. If the Saints do something real or do something like that's positive, I'm gonna talk about it. But if they out there fumbling all over themselves and causing themselves hardship, hell yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation and have something to say about it. So I don't know what you smoking on, dude. And as far as what the Saints, I actually had the Saints beating the 49ers. I predicted the Saints beating the 49ers. They lost, So if I never have anything positive to say about the Saints, then why would I pick the Saints to beat the 49ers? Man, somebody get this bum up out my chat. Get this bum up out my chat, man. Get this bum up out of here, man. I can get down with somebody really telling me like some legit stuff, but when you sitting up here lying on my name, bro, get out of my chat. And you can catch me on the NFC South Roundtable if you want to, man, but you get no love for that, no respect. There's no way in the world that a person that's been doing podcasting since 2018 like me can somebody sit up here and tell me that I don't support the New Orleans Saints. So get this bum up out of my chat, bro. And if you want to sit around and watch the NFC South Roundtable, please do so. I ain't gonna tell you not to watch that, but get this dude up out of my chat with these lies, man. You lying, bro. You capping right now. We ain't got to have no conversation. We ain't about to have no conversation. I don't need to have a conversation. If you're not going to do your due diligence and you just going to jump on a chat and talk noise and don't even understand that I've done 1,800 episodes of the State of the Saints podcast, including having guests on there like Zach Streif, Jermaine Bushride, Steve Weiss, Jim Trotter, my guy Brian McFadden, two-time Super Bowl champion. If you ain't going to do your research and do your homework and just think that your boy just been chilling since the NFC South Roundtable, you don't know me. So don't sit up here and say that all I do is such and such. If you don't even know I got a channel that focused on the New Orleans Saints since 2018. No, we can't have a conversation because you came up in here with some bull. So I don't want to have no conversation. And you don't know me. So there's that. If you don't, like, we've done like 1,800 episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. And we got Tyler Algier getting another running forward for a first down. About a minute left in the game. Back to the game. But but ain't nobody about to sit up here and be lying on your boy like this. Like, I don't be down for the cause. Hand off to Tyler Algier, gets around the middle, or gets up the middle and gets a first down a little bit more. So it's 1st and 10. So, I mean, this has been a very lopsided first half. Michael Penix throws the ball. That pass is complete to Tyler Algier. He gets pushed out of bounds. All right, so that stops the clock at second down. If you're Atlanta, you're trying to get into the end zone. If you're Minnesota, you're trying to force them to at least a field goal. You get the ball at the start of the second half so you can go down there and possibly have a 1-point lead if you can stop Atlanta from getting into the end zone. Oh, no, don't get in the fetal position now. All right, Michael Penix throws the ball up. That pass is incomplete. We can have a conversation without all the name calling. This man came up here and said, he came out here and called me out and said, you call yourself a Saints fan talking about the Falcons. So don't act like, oh, man, he just picking on me right now. Now, you came up in here with the smoke, dude. You just didn't expect for me to say anything about it. But you ain't about to sit up here and lie on me talking about I ain't no real Saints fan. We've been 10 toes down with the Saints since we're about 4 years old. Since we're sitting on my grandmother's floor listening to the Saints on radio. Better put some respect on my name. 3rd and 6. Michael Penix in the gun. You got Darnell Mooney in motion, looking. He throws, and that pass is incomplete. So 4th and 6. Yet again, the Atlanta Falcons are in the red zone, and they come away having to go for a field goal, having to settle for a field goal. Pay bums, no mind. Yeah, man, I mean, look, normally I don't, but when people be like, you call yourself this, like you call yourself a Saint, like, man, dude, like, where y'all been at? Y'all been under a rock, man? Some of these people been under a rock. Like, I know I've been around for a minute. I've been around since 2018, over 1,800 episodes of the State of the Saints, including having, being on Bleacher Report, and that kick is good. Okay, so, man, he I don't know, man. It better not come down to a game-winning field goal. I can tell you that. But anyway, been around there since 2018 doing our thing, talking about Saints football. We now in our first year, the State of the NFL podcast. So there are some individuals that support both channels. Some people would like for me to post on the State of the Saints podcast channel so they can be a part of Watchalong too. So I oblige. TJ, I'm 37. Homie don't know the hardship we went through with Nola. Man, you can go ahead and miss me with that. And and honestly, after tonight, you'll never get a response out of me again after that. Because I know where I'm at right now. I know how some people do it. Oh, they paid attention to me. Oh, they said this. So they'll come back and try to double down on some other platform. Oh, he said this. He said this. I can't have no real conversation with him. No, I'm not having real conversation with people that sit up here that don't do their homework and don't even try to give me the respect of the stuff, the work and the content that I put out, just to say that I'm just up here just calling a Falcon game for the simple fact of calling a Falcon game, not even understanding that we do this every single week since the season started. So Price on the return, gets around the side. Here we go. Tries to make somebody miss, and he gets tackled, but a really good return right there. And let's see what Minnesota can do. Now, you got 3 timeouts, 18 seconds left. JJ McCarthy looks like he gets that interception out of the way. Seems like he's ready to get back out there to try to facilitate a drive. Let's see what he can actually do. All right, so here we go. David McCarthy, 7 of 10, 68 yards and an interception. So let's see what they do here. You got just by backing up. That's a high snap right there. All right, so here goes the pressure, and he's sacked. So at this point, man, you just want to go ahead and take this to the locker room. Oh, wait a minute. Man, what a high snap right there. I mean, this if any team needs to go into the locker room and adjust, it are the Minnesota Vikings. All right, so AJ Terrell is down on the field, and if you're Atlanta Falcons, you definitely don't want to see that. The best cornerback they have on their team. So let's see what happened here. All right, so man, and this non-contact seemed like he's grabbing at his hamstring right there. So that's definitely not a good look for the Atlanta Falcons secondary, the best secondary player. He was a second-team All-Pro selection. So that is a huge loss for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so here we go. 2nd and 13. They're going to try to go for it. It cost the Atlanta Falcons a timeout. But right now, man, you got to take advantage of this. You don't have AJ Terrell out there. All right, so they're sending pressure. Looking. Sets up. He throws down the field, and that pass is caught to a wide open Justin Jefferson. Gets around the side, gets down to the 30-yard line, and with 2 seconds left, and as soon as AJ Terrell leaves out of the game, you got Justin Jefferson. I mean, put these guys in a blender and basically got them turned around wide open down the field of Justin Jefferson. I mean, really good footwork right there. I mean, just gets him on that double move, gets him turned backwards, is able to make somebody miss, get up the field and have 2 seconds to spare. So here we go. Here's a really crucial, clutch 51-yard field goal to try to cut the lead to 3 going into the half. Snap, placement, kick on the way, and that is right down the middle and good. So that's the best case scenario for the Minnesota Vikings, being able to end on a high note, getting not necessarily a 2-for-1, but still get some points on the board, and we'll get the ball back at the start of the second half. And, that is, something that ended up being very promising and very, very, very great for the Minnesota Vikings. And we take a look at Raheem Morris, and Raheem Morris' defense is humming right now. But you got to make sure that you're coming away with 6 points in the red zone and not 3. TJ, I wanted to ask you, did you see the Hurricane Katrina documentary? I watched the first 2 episodes and it broke my heart all over again, bro. No, I didn't watch. Well, I take that back. I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't end up watching the whole entire thing, man. I mean, that just triggers a lot of bad memories. I mean, I don't want to relive that. I understand, man, what it's been about 20 years since it happened. But man, I don't be want to relive that. That is very, very heartbreaking. And it's something that people are still dealing with to this day. Because, in a way, when that happened, I mean, New Orleans was never the same after that. Please forget the hurricanes itself wasn't that bad. It was the levees breaking. Man, that hurricane was horrible, Josh. I mean, when you have winds up to 120, 130 miles per hour, and you have a city surrounded by waters, and yes, the infrastructure was trash. But man, so many people lost their homes, so many people lost their lives. I mean, that was just an issue, and that just showed the incompetence of America at that time. It was heartbreaking. But yeah. TJ, do you know any Bills fans? My son, Paxton, a Bills fan. He loved the Bills. That's his favorite football team. He tells me that all the time. He's like, "What's your favorite team, Paxton?" The Buffalo Bills. Yeah, man. Credit to my boy, man. At his second flag football game. The team lost by 1 point yesterday, man. 13-12. Came down. It was a defensive game, and they really went out there and did their best, man. I'm proud of those little guys. I'm proud to be able to coach the defense of the team. Was out there, man. We almost got pitched the offensive shutout, man. Like the only points that they had was off an interception return for a touchdown, and it came down to the last minute, man. They got into the end zone on us, but man, it's fun, man. I tell you, man, it is so fun. Like seeing those little kids out there and how excited they are, and just seeing my son out there, just doing his best. And he gets a kick out of the fact that I get a chance to coach him. So, yeah, man, shouts out to him, man. TJ, what's your feelings about Al Davis? My feelings about Al Davis, I mean, Al Davis was a really good owner at one time, especially when the Raiders were the true black hole, when they had guys like Howie Long and Lyle Alzado and Jim Plunkett, and they got old man Willie out there, taking it all away. And John Madden was the coach. The Raiders were like one of the top teams. And then all of a sudden, I feel like his philosophies and thoughts of how to build a team kind of cost the Raiders, especially like in the early 2000s. Yeah, he found success, with Rich Gannon and guys like that. But after, they lost Jon Gruden, they can just never recover. And there's some of the draft picks that he went out and got, like getting guys like Darius Hayward-Bay, drafting Sebastian Janikowski in the first round, like it's 1952 or something like that. Like it was just a lot of his philosophies became a little bit passé. But you definitely can't talk Raiders still to this day without Al Davis. I mean, his memory, his legacy is still inwoven in the fabric of Raider football. right? I mean, everybody knows the slogan "Just win, baby," just comes from Al Davis. So, I mean, still a legend, still a Titan, being gone all these years. I mean, I think he was a really good owner and general manager at one time, but there were some things that were very spotty and questionable, like what he did to the career of Marcus Allen, basically kept him on the bench to rot instead of trying to trade him just because he didn't really care that much for him. Like I said, man, just the bad decisions by drafting Sebastian Janikowski in the first round. I mean, Sebastian Janikowski was a really good kicker for a long time in the league, but first round pick, Darius Haywood Babe picking him just because he ran a 4.2 40. I mean, what, Jamarcus Russell? Bad decisions, but I mean, he a legend. He is a legend, no doubt about that. He made a lot of brothers rich. He loved giving money away. Yeah, I mean, obviously, teams owe their personal rights to Al Davis, especially when it comes to revenue and negotiation right. Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of good things too. Like I said, man, he's a Titan. Like he is a Titan in the league, but but at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of questions like in the twilight of his life were very questionable and really set the Raiders back even to this day. TJ, they're saying Burrow may be out 3 months. Yeah, I mean, dealing with turf toe, dealing with injuries, you hate to see that from Joe, but man, right now, man, it seems like your boy getting a little bit of reputation of being a little bit injury prone, and you got Bengals fans out there seem like they're extremely frustrated with him. Look, you ain't going nowhere without Joe Burrow. I hate when fan bases get too big for their britches and they be like, man, we don't need this, we don't need that, but they become a prisoner to their own success as if, oh yeah, we trending in the right direction. But you would be absolutely nothing without Joe Burrow. Plain and simple. Remember that. But some teams they don't seem to let that register. They don't do that. They always just looking like, oh we got a chance to win. You ain't winning nothing without Joe Burrow. You're not winning a jack without Joe Burrow. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a brief break and we'll be back at the start of the second half. So, get yourself something to drink, get yourself like something to eat, chill a little bit. We'll be back to break down and have the play-by-play for the second half here on the State of the NFL. But in the meantime, if you have not already, if you enjoy the commentary, if you enjoy the talk, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and help the state of the NFL to grow. All right. Be back in a second. All right. Welcome back. The start of the second half is almost upon us. Right now, the Atlanta Falcons are holding on to a 9-6 lead over the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. The first half pretty much was owned by the Atlanta Falcons. They were able to do a lot of really good things. Michael Penix got the ball out on time, got it. Kyle Pitts involved, the defense. Was able to get pressure on JJ McCarthy, both young stud pass rushers, and James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker was able to get pressure on JJ McCarthy. So right now we're going to see if Minnesota can actually turn the tables here. But I mean, the first half, like I said, belonged to Atlanta. And, you had some mistakes by JJ McCarthy. You had a fumble by Drake London. So this is a great opportunity for the Minnesota Vikings to try to get back into the game. And not to mention, we know that A.J. Terrell left the game. He was favoring his hamstring. So will he be able to come back into the game? We seen as soon as he left the game, you had Justin Jefferson just go out there and have a big play to set up a 51-yard field goal by Riker. So how are the Minnesota Vikings going to be able to respond? Will they be able to win this football game? They will see. All right, so here we go. Here's the return. And this return is by Price again. So Price tries to go around the side, and he gets met right there. So Alford making a really good special teams play right there. And as we take a look at JJ McCarthy, just it seemed like a lot of miscues, man, with the snap. I mean, the snap has been very questionable. Ball security has been an issue with McCarthy, So he's going to have to find a way to try to get the ball out. Hopefully those adjustments were made to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly in order for him to be able to, get the ball down the field. Holding on to that ball, man, can really cost you. You can get a sack, and then you're really behind the 8-ball. So here we go. 1st and 10. Got Naylor in motion. This is a toss play off to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones gets around the corner, and he fights, and he gets about 8 yards on the play. So really good setup by the offensive line there in order for Aaron Jones to get around the corner, around the left side. And you got Kelly. It's official that he is out with a concussion. So it is going to be the backup, I believe, Juergens, the entire way. All right. So let's just hope he doesn't snap the ball like he got Juergens on his hands. All right. So we got Adam Thielen in motion here. All right. So here we go. Play action. Good blitz pickup. Throws the ball down the field. And that pass is incomplete. He tried to fit it in double coverage intended for Adam Thielen. So Adam Thielen has been pretty clutch. He tried to come in clutch now on that play, and has come in clutch on these 3rd down situations, but right there, he just couldn't get it done. But Adam Thielen, as we heard, the oldest wide receiver in the National Football League. But he's still able to make plays. Not the same Adam Thielen of old. But here they go. Look like they're trying to bring some pressure here. All right, so here we go. Looking, steps up in the pocket. That pass is intercepted again. That pass is picked off, and he goes around the side, and he's like, wait a minute. And he gets tackled by the offensive lineman, and Billy Bowman yet again with two of them on JJ McCarthy. Man, no, that is incomplete. But Billy Bowman is having a game of his life. This man is playing like an absolute maniac. I mean, he is flying all over the field. Kind of remind me of Bob Sanders out there, where he just flying across the field, just laying it all on the line. All right, so JJ McCarthy, man, I don't know what he's seeing right now, but you have to believe he's seeing ghosts, and I think that would be Akil Poe, since he was the guy who replaced Sam Darnold. But nevertheless, 4th and 2, and I bet you they're happy to punt this. I mean, it could have been even worse. I mean, instead of you having to defend the red zone, now you get the punt. So let's see how this is going to work out. But Minnesota is going to have to figure this thing out. It's been a very sloppy football game for the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy. All right, so here we go. Here's the snap. And he gets it up there. Really good hang time right there. All right, so guys it high, guys it long, and that pass is just going to be down by Natron Brooks there. All right, so Michael Penix comes back out there. JJ McCarthy is not having a good night, but that's how it was in the first 3 quarters of the game against the Bears. Not really good stats. Then in the 4th quarter, he just became something otherworldly and was able to win that football game in Chicago. Question is, now will he win his first home opener of his career? All right, so we got Donnell Moody in motion. Penix in the gun, hands the ball off to Robinson. Robinson spins around, stays on his feet, still fighting for extra yards, and almost gets the first down. He gets about 8 yards. And I'll tell you, man, this guy is fun to watch. Whether you hate the Atlanta Falcons or not, you got to respect the talent level of a Bijan Robinson. Great balance right here. Most guys will probably, fall down. He stays on his feet. I mean, basically using pace to brace himself so he can maintain his balance. All right, so he has 81 yards rushing, 20 yards receiving. I mean, he's been extremely active in this game. All right, so here's another handoff to him. This should be simple right here. Instead, he goes around the side, and that's enough for the first down. So Bijan Robinson gets the first down yet again. I mean, when you're in the company of Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry for anything, that shows you that you're trending in the right direction. And Atlanta Falcons, they really rely on Bijan Robinson, man. I mean, he's so dynamic. But here we go. Here's the play action. All right, and then we got a flag on the play. Let's see what we got here. It's looking like going to be a false start on the offense. So once again, it just seemed like that's been the story of Atlanta tonight. You get yourself some really good, hard-fought yards, really out there banging. Just seemed like you got Minnesota on the ropes, and then you shoot yourself in the foot with a penalty. So that's just self-inflicted wounds, man. That separates the good teams from the great teams, the mediocre team. All right, so here we go. 1st and 15. Here's the pass, and I don't know what was going on with that. Drake London was the intended receiver, but it seemed like him and Penix weren't on the same page there. I mean, dude was a very talented running back. All right, so 2nd and 15 for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so here we go. And that is just a handoff right there. And the way that he can just reverses field, man, he just makes it look so effortless, And it seems like Minnesota just don't have an answer for him. That was a really good play right there. I believe that was a direct snap. Direct snap right there to Bijan Robinson. All right, so on a 2nd and 15, making it 3rd and manageable here. So you got an empty backfield. They're trying to get pressure up the middle. That pass is caught. That's complete right there by Darnell Moody for the first down. I mean, that's a really good pass right there. Really good catch by Darnell Mooney. And really good execution right there. I mean, it was 2nd and 15. They were able to stay ahead of the chains here. All right, so here we go. Here's the handoff. This is off to Tyler Algier, but Tyler Algier, unlike his counterpart, isn't able to get any yards on the play. This has been a hard-fought game. Both teams' defenses have come to play tonight, and yards have, even though they haven't been that hard to come by, they have been able to barrel down when necessary. All right, so he actually lose a yard on a play. So this is going to bring up 2nd and 11. All right, Penix looking. That pass is complete. That's the Darnell Mooney. He gets up the field, and he's about a yard short of the first down. So that's going to bring up about a 3rd and 1 for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so Tyler Algier in the backfield on this 3rd and 2. You remember he's the power back. So let's see if Minnesota can actually get off the field. Here we go. Here's a handoff to Tyler Algier, and he barrels forward. That's enough for the first down. So they keep the chains moving. They keep the clock moving. And now we see Bijan Robinson coming back in the game after taking a breather. They're able to get the first down. He gets behind the tight end and just barrels forward for the first down. I mean, Minnesota had to believe that was coming, but there was nothing they can really do about it. The running game of Atlanta has been a huge factor tonight. All right, so here we go. Here's the handoff. This is off to Bijan Robinson. He gets around the side, makes somebody miss, and he gets up the field. And that's about 15 yards on the play, and that's enough for a first down. Absolutely no answer for Bijan Robinson tonight, and Kevin O'Connell looks extremely frustrated because his defense can do absolutely nothing with the offensive line and the running ability of a Bijan Robinson. I mean, he's down the field untouched. He's like at the 3rd level before he even gets touched. 13 carries for 111 yards. Really good, solid performance tonight by Bijan Robinson. All right, Penix in the gun. Instead, they hand it off to Bijan again. Bijan spins forward, and he gets about 2 or 3 yards on the play. So even when he's caught dead to rights and it should have been a negative yard, he leans forward for positive yards. Really bad tackling tonight by the Minnesota Vikings. All right, so here we go. Penix looking. All right, he tried to scramble outside the pocket. This pass is caught to Bijan, and he gets about 4 yards on the play. So this is going to bring up 3rd down. So if you're Atlanta, you're trying to convert. You're not trying to waste any time anymore with these field goals. You don't want to keep on kicking field goals, and you know that Minnesota is capable of scoring touchdowns. All right, so here we go. Tyler Algier goes, and he gets stuffed. So once again, that's going to bring up 4th down. So it's decision time right now if you're Atlanta. Now, this could probably be 4th down territory. You can look at it like, hey, let's just go ahead and, but they're not going to do that because they have a defensive-minded coach, and we all know defensive-minded coaches are hella conservative. They believe in their defense, and he likes the way the defense is playing tonight. So they're going to try to kick a field goal. And Kevin O'Connell is trying to fire up his quarterback because he knows that he needs that quarterback to play better if they have any chance of winning this football game. So here we go. Parker Romo, 33-yard field goal. snap, placement, kick on the way, and it is good. All right, so 4-4. If you're going to be dealing with an offensive struggle, at least you want to know that you have a kicker that can keep you in a football game. So, if anything, I think Atlanta Falcon fans are breathing a sigh of relief that they know that they actually have a kicker that can possibly keep them in a football game. That field goal kicker is carrying. Yeah, they definitely carrying them. But look, they needed to see this though. I mean, Younghoe Koo, he's been having a yips. He's not. He hasn't been cut, but I'm pretty sure after this performance by Parker Romo, he will be. Pretty sure he's gonna get cut. What's going on, Tom? Appreciate you for being here, man. This is the State of the NFL Watchalong. We got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. The Atlanta Falcons are up. What's the score? They're up 12-6. So even though the Atlanta Falcons pretty much has dominated this game, to be honest with you, if the Minnesota Vikings score a touchdown, they can have a 1-point lead. Is it cool? Who? Yeah, he done after tonight. Especially if this comes down to a game-winning field goal and Parker Romo wins it for Atlanta. Yeah, he might well just go ahead and pack his bags. I'm pretty sure he's sitting with his suitcase next to his bed anyway. You know what time it is. I'll hit the like button on both channels. Hello, I appreciate that. Please hit the like button. If you enjoy the commentary, I just ask that you hit the like button. All right, let's go ahead and take a look while we're on a little bit of a break here, on a commercial break. Let's go ahead and do the scores for all the games that took place today. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they fell to the Cincinnati Bengals 31-27, but the Bengals do lose Joe Burrow, who, according to sources, is dealing with turf toe, so he's going to be out for quite some time. The Dallas Cowboys in overtime in a thriller knock off the New York Giants 40-37. Dak Prescott over 300 yards, Russell Wilson over 400 yards, and both teams seemed like they wanted that game in a major way. The Detroit Lions and the Ben Johnson homecoming put boots to you-know-what, 52-21. The Chicago Bears fall to 0-2. High expectations for the Bears, but don't seem like, they're going to be the team that people thought they were going to be. Price gets around the side. All right, Caleb Williams, 19-30, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jared Goff, 23 of 28, 334 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Jared Goff just out there just making plays. Unbelievable, man. So the Bears fall to 0-2. What's up with that Dennis Allen defense? The Rams knocking off the Titans 33-19. Had a really good throw by Cam Ward, but it still wasn't enough for the Titans to be able to overcome the Rams. The Rams are 2-0. The Titans are 0-2. All right, so first we'll take a pause on that. 1st and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Under center is JJ McCarthy. Jordan Madison tries to get around the sides, get little to nothing on the play. That's going to bring up 2nd down. But we have the New England Patriots. They knocked off the Miami Dolphins 33-27. Tua Tagovailoa, 315 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it had an overthrow by Tyreek Hill. Seemed like he was extremely frustrated. 6 catches for 109 yards for Tyreek. But the New England Patriots had back-to-back special teams return for touchdowns. And if that happens, more than likely you're going to win a football game. 2nd and 7 for the Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy in a gun. Hockenson in motion. He's looking. He checks. And he throws the ball off. This is off to Jordan Mason. He gets a few yards, but he's about a yard short of the 1st down. So JJ McCarthy, going through his progressions, decided to take the check down, and now it's going to bring up 3rd and 1, and they have got to convert this 3rd and 1. They have got to convert. All right, and of course, the New Orleans Saints fall to the San Francisco 49ers 26-21. Spencer Rattler had 3 touchdowns in the game, over 200 yards passing. Alvin Kamara, 21 carries for 99 yards, but the story was Mac Jones. All right, and we got Jordan Mason, who does not get the first down. Does not get it. Does not get it. Now it's decision time. It is decision time. And it don't seem like Kevin O'Connell is even flinching. He's going for it. He understands that this team has little to no momentum. But credit to Diablo. They're able to get a shift. And he wasn't picked up. So I don't know. I don't know if Hawkinson was supposed to stay there, maybe block for him, but so here we go. 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, and he leans forward and he looks like he got the first down. He has enough for the first down right there. So I think you can move those chains there. So I think that's enough for the first down, depending on the spot. Let's see where the ref place it. And yeah, that is going to be a first down. That's going to be a first down. But in the meantime, as they're trying to get those measurements, the Buffalo Bills all over the New York Jets, 30-10. Josh Allen, 14-25, 148 yards. Not one of the best days, but still, I mean, when you're the Buffalo Bills, man, you got a running game that involves James Cook, 21 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. 1st and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Here's the handoff off to Jordan Mason. He goes around the side. He cuts, and he goes up, and he gets first down and more. And we do have a flag on the play. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a flag on a play, but it looks like it's going to be coming back. Hope you got that receipt. Holding on the offense, number 73. That is on Ross. I mean, it's just unfortunate right there. You probably have the best carry of the night, but instead you hold on and yeah, you never want to see that. You never want to see backup offensive lineman, young rookie quarterback. Well, he's not a rookie, but y'all get what I'm saying. This is his first year as a starter. All right, so here we go on the play action. Checks it down, and it's incomplete. Aaron Jones just could not corral it. You would think if he would have caught it, they would have had some space where he can get some big-time yardage ahead of him. But this is 2nd and 20. And this has been a very, very stale. And again, man, what is going on with JJ McCarthy and this ball security? This is not very good stuff. You don't want to see this. Okay, and he gets around the side. He runs. He tries to get around the side, and he tries to get pulled down. And man, he gets at least about 15 or 16 yards on the play. So making it a very manageable 3rd down. And depends on if you get some yards here. You got to believe this is 4th down territory again. So he's looking. He finds absolutely nothing. He's able to slip out of the pocket and just go around. But Caden tries to get around Caden Ellis. And really good block up the field there, man. Really good block up the field. And they pull him down. So 3rd and 4. So let's see if they can actually convert on this 3rd down. All right, so well, we got some movement right there. So it's going to be 3rd and 9. Going to be 3rd and 9. You have some backup offensive linemen in the game. Guys a little bit jittery, right? See that blitz? Make you want to flinch a little bit. All right, the Seahawks knocked off the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. You have Sam Darnold, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, 13 carries for 105 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 8 catches for 103 yards. And then you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have Aaron Rodgers, who was 18-33, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And DK Metcalf, 1 second. And that pass is incomplete. So that's going to bring up 4th down. So he was right there. The catch was there, but it just was not there. And Kevin O'Connell just looks extremely frustrated. All right, so here we go. It's punt time once again. All right, but anyway, DK Metcalf in his return to, versus his former team. He didn't return to Seattle, but he played his former team. He only had 3 catches for 20 yards in the game. So Seattle really had their A game going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got the Browns, who fell to the Baltimore Ravens 41-17. Lamar Jackson, 19 of 29, 225 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Browns, 0-2. All right, 0-2. Wasn't a very good showing. Joe Flacco, 25 of 45 for 199 yards. He was sacked twice, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But Quinshon Judkins in his debut had 10 carries for 61 yards. So there's a bright spot for that. But we know it's going to be an uphill battle for the Cleveland Browns throughout the entire season. So, credit to the Baltimore Ravens, who suffered that heartbreaking loss last week, able to bounce back and finish a game after scoring 40 points. Then you have the Broncos falling to the Indianapolis Colts 29-28. Danny Dimes, 23 of 34, 316 yards, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor getting active, 25 carries for 165 yards. And Troy Franklin led receivers, 8 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. The Carolina Panthers fall to the Arizona Cardinals 27-22. The game was a little bit out of hand, but credit to the Carolina Panthers rallying back, even had an onside kick, but just wasn't enough to knock off the Arizona Cardinals. And then you have the Kansas City Chiefs repeating history by falling to the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl rematch, 20-17. Patrick Mahomes, 16 of 29, 187 yards and a touchdown. Saquon, 22 carries for 88 yards and 1 touchdown. And there was a couple of plays that I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes would indeed want back. Jalen Hurts didn't knock anybody's socks off, 15 of 22, 101 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Quarterback rating of a 43. Wasn't his best showing, but didn't need to be the best in order for them to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs, which is extremely scary if you are a team in NFC trying to knock these dudes out of the way. But those are your scores. And, of course, you have a couple games that are going to take place on Monday night. The Monday Night Football matchup. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Houston to take on the Texans. And you also have the Chargers, who are coming off that big-time win over Kansas City in Brazil. They will be facing the 1-0 Raiders team, who knocked off the Patriots in Week 1. Minnesota is selling. Well, look, man, I gotta give credit, man, to Atlanta. They looking pretty good. The defense seemed like they came to play. And it just seemed like Minnesota gonna have to earn it if they're gonna win this football game tonight. All right, so here we go. Here's the carrier, Bijan. Bijan barreling forward, and he gets about 2 or 3 yards on the play. So it seemed like they're gonna be riding Bijan Robinson all night long, as far as them trying to win this football game, him trying to establish the run, and he's been doing just that. Brian Flores trying to figure this Atlanta Falcons offense out. For the most part, they're bending but not breaking. But you have to wonder, is time going to run out? And what was that? I don't know if he thought like maybe the whistle blew or what, but man, he just got absolutely tattooed. And you hate to see your quarterback take a hit like that. He had his head down. And then, Grenier, he just basically it was just like nothing but space and opportunity there, man. He was able to pick up speed, and you just hate to see that, man, if you're Michael Penix. He got down in the fetal position. That could have been really ugly right there. All right, so 6, 5, 4 o'clock is at 3, is at 2, and they get the snap off, and here comes the pressure coming in late, and that pass is tipped away and knocked down. Really good defensive performance by the Minnesota Vikings on that drive. So they get the 3 and out. That's what they needed, and they got it. So Brian Flores dialing up some of his best stuff in a crucial situation. I mean, so you have like a little bit of a delayed blitz here. He comes around the back end. It rushes Michael Penix to be able to make a throw, tries to get it to Kyle Pitts. And I mean, really good play to tip that ball away. So right now, Bradley Pinion tries to punt the ball, and he does. Not some of his best stuff. It bounces, and it goes into the hands of Price. Price gets around the middle, tries to reverse field, and he doesn't get anything. So really good pursuit right there by the Atlanta Falcons special teams. And now JJ McCarthy, he got to stop fooling around, man. He got to go out here and try to make something happen. But if you like defense, this is the type of game that you're into. Both defenses seem like they came to play tonight. 12-6. Now Minnesota defense stepping up. Yeah, I mean, that pressure that they put on Michael Penix, that is key. You got to be able to get the ball out of his hands. True, TJ, but I'm talking about the unforced errors. Can't tell me a Rattler is not outplaying a lot of these quarterbacks. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think when it comes to like Spencer Rattler, Saints quarterback, I think that he's playing a lot better than people giving him credit for. I don't understand like what Saints fans are seeing from other quarterbacks. Like I haven't seen any quarterbacks that's out here just knocking their socks off, like knocking socks off of a team. Like there's the Josh Allens, there's the Lamar Jacksons, but those are elite quarterbacks. But I'm talking about like quarterbacks that you would consider being in the same tier as Spencer Rattler at this point. Like let's take a look. Okay, so I guess you can talk about like guys like Trevor Lawrence, right? Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 42, 271, and 3 touchdowns. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's look at some of these other quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford, 20. He's not in that tier, but 23 of 33, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tua Tagovailoa, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones, 279, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he's up there with like a lot of these quarterbacks that, pretty stable. I mean, even Bryce Young had 328 yards and 3 touchdowns today. But, you look at the quarterback play, it's been spotty across the board, man. There's not been really good quarterback play this season. Like a lot of these quarterbacks are, throwing them like, probably playing about as pedestrian as somebody walking across the street most of the game. And then, it starts to get out of hand and the defense plays a little light and, they probably playing zone and, they're getting a lot of garbage time stats. I'm talking about guys playing great from start to finish. You're not seeing that. So Spencer Rattler to me is like fitting right at home. Fitting right at home with some of this bad quarterback play out here. And he's not even playing bad. He looks like a serviceable quarterback, but I guess people don't want serviceable. They want Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But my answer to that is, don't everybody. That was a team lost today by the Saints. I'm going to sit there and blame Rattler. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's a straight team loss. But that seems like they're going to be a reoccurring thing throughout the season, unfortunately. JJ McCarthy, free. I mean, and he gets sacked and loses the football. And JJ McCarthy, my goodness, man, what a night from hell. A night from hell. I mean, I don't know, but that's what happens when you have backup offensive linemen in the game. I mean, that was just one of those mistakes. I mean, he was not ready for that. I mean, just a free blitzer. I mean, sloppy performance, and Atlanta Falcons defense has come to play. And this is a very dangerous part of the field that Atlanta is a part of. And right now, it just seems like Minnesota just doesn't have any answer. And I mean, absolutely no answer for Atlanta Falcons defense right now. And when you count the fact that you got 2 backup offensive linemen in the game, it's kind of hard for you to be able to bounce back. Bijan Robinson cuts up the middle, and he was really close to breaking that. I mean, he probably would have, if he would have broke that tackle, they would have still been trying to chase. This is a tough night for JJ McCarthy. This shows you, man, football is about peaks and valleys. Like he was at the top of the world. Everybody was talking about, oh, has Minnesota found their next starting quarterback? They go from that now is a guy who has 2 turnovers in a game. Should have had about 4. All right, so here we go. Drake London in motion. Penix in a gun. Hands the ball off to Bijan. Bijan skips around, spins around, makes somebody miss, and he gets enough for the first down. So keeps the chains moving. I mean, this man is out here making guys miss, man, spinning guys around, trying to do everything that he can, trying to fight for these extra yards. But really good tackle right there by Dallas Turner, getting him down on the ground. But right now, Bijan feels like he can do whatever the heck he wants to this defense. Every time he touches the ball, he gets at least 4 to 5 yards a clip. And right now, the clock is on the side, and they hand it off to Bijan. Bijan skips it around, tries to go around, but this time they are ready for him. And Isaiah Rodgers is right there to get that tackle on Bijan Robinson. So for one of the first times tonight, they like, thank God we got him in the backfield. So once again, this defense of Minnesota trying to get the ball into the hands of the offense once again without any true damage done. At best, a field goal possibly. So 2nd and 12. All right. Moody in motion. Here we go. Trying to get pressure. And, oh, my goodness, another sack on Michael Penix. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. We're really seeing, the youthfulness of these quarterbacks, man. A lot of huge mistakes. These guys trying to make plays from the pocket collapsing. Instead of you trying to throw the ball away, maybe looking at your running back, throwing it at his feet. Instead, you sit there in the pocket and just take the sack. So now you're putting yourself and taking yourself out of field goal range. So what are you going to do here? Probably maybe a draw play or a handoff to try to see if you could actually do that. But they're actually 3 minutes, seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And did they get it off in time? And it looked like they were able to call a timeout. Atlanta called a timeout before the delay of game penalty. And that would have been about the second or the third one tonight that we saw. So I don't know. Clock management has not been an area that both of these teams thrived in tonight. Minnesota has lost it, TJ. Well, I don't know, man. This game ain't over just yet. But, if they can be able to get this stop and maybe get the ball back into the hands of the offense, maybe they can have a better showing. But they're going to have to earn this one tonight. Nobody remembers what the score of games. They mostly just remember that you won or lost the game. So nobody's going to remember how bad Minnesota looked tonight on the offensive side of football. But if you win the football game, everybody's going to remember that you're 2-0 instead of 1-1. All right, so here we go. Kyle Pitts in motion. Here's the snap. Michael Penix tries to get the ball. That pass is caught, and right away he's tackled by Metellus, man. Metellus has been all over Kyle Pitts in this second half. Kyle Pitts was able to get active early, but we noticed that he kind of been held in check. All right, so here we go. Parker Romo is back out there. And if you're Atlanta, at least you know that you actually have a field goal kicker that can kick the ball between the uprights. You want to see your offense score touchdowns, but it's probably good to see that you have a kicker that's out here making kicks. And this is 54 yards right here. It's a little complicated, but if he makes this 54-yarder, I think that Atlanta Falcon fans might lose their minds. All right, so here we go. Snap placement, kick on the way, and it is good. So trust and believe Younghoe Koo will not be the kicker after the night. 5 of 5, keeping these guys in the game. So 54-yard field goal, but hey, it ain't over yet. You might have to end up kicking that field goal that might cost you, that may win the game for you. Penix looked just okay to me. can still grow, but like all the other young quarterbacks, we will see. I think all these young quarterbacks have room to grow. I think they do. I think they all have room to grow. I just think that sometimes when you're a fan of a team, like you just focus in on your team's issues and your team's problems and what your team lacks and a play of certain positions. And you don't look around the National Football League and see and compare what other teams have. And you might realize that things aren't as bad as you may think. So, I mean, when you think that you have it bad, somebody else has it worse. I mean, you could be the Browns who just got beat to sleep and, got 41 points dropped on their head, or the Bears who allowed the Detroit Lions to drop 50 on them. So could be a lot worse, folks. Could be a lot worse. When you get these kind of turnovers, you got to punch it in. I mean, yeah, you keeping Minnesota around. You're keeping them around. You're keeping them, in the game by not scoring touchdowns, but instead scoring field goals. But to me, man, I don't see Minnesota winning this football game, man. I just don't. It seems like Atlanta pretty much got this thing in check right now. It ain't over till the fat lady sing. That's true, especially when you're talking about the Atlanta Falcon game. But the defense of Atlanta has looked very impressive tonight. I'm not going to hate on them on that. They look very impressive. They've been able to get pressure on JJ McCarthy. They have really confused him with some of these blitzes and some of these disguised blitzes, and they think they're gonna bring pressure and don't. They don't look like they're gonna bring pressure, and they do. Just seems like he's really confused and he really doesn't know what to do. And then you also combine the fact that you don't have your center. The center, Kelly, is out with an injury. I mean, that's probably the guy that's helping him call out the different coverages. So you don't have your safety valve and your center and Kelly. So, that's unfortunate. Maybe you'll probably see a better version of Minnesota's offense. But right now, you basically got a young, inexperienced quarterback out there all alone trying to figure out what Jeff Albrecht defense is doing. All right, so here we go. Here's the return. Gets past the 20-yard line and knew he does not get past the 20-yard line. And really good coverage right there by the Atlanta Falcons. No player with a double-digit sack. Dang. All right, so here we go. All right, so here's the handoff. This is off to Mason. Mason making somebody miss, gets around the side, fighting for extra yards, and really good block right there by Juergens. But it has absolutely nothing to do with the play, but really good block right there. So we look at Jeff Albrecht, was the interim coach of the Jets last season, gets signed by the Atlanta Falcons, who get rid of Jimmy Lake, who had their defense looking like absolute slaw, trying to get some credibility going. All right. You got Nail under center. All right, so here's the handoff. This is off to Mason. He gets around the side and he fights and he leans forward, but he is about a yard short of the first down. So right now it is time for the Minnesota Vikings to try to rev this thing up, try to get something going. I mean, Atlanta has just been doing whatever they want to defensively and offensively throughout the night. I mean, this offense of Minnesota has been pretty much held in check the entire night. I mean, Justin Jefferson, no non-factor. I mean, Aaron Jones, non-factor. TJ Hawkinson, non-factor. You have a couple of plays by Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. All right, he throws, he goes long, and he has a step. He has a step, and he just overthrows Naylor. Wow. Had him wide open. Got the matchup that you wanted. Was able to get around the side, ball up in the air, and just can't hit him. Just cannot hit Naylor. That would have been reservation for 6. and Kevin O'Connell just looking like, what in the hell is going on? So they're going to have to settle for a punt yet again. Unbelievable, man. So for all those people out there that's talking about, a certain quarterback, oh man, he was supposed to hit that throw. Everybody does it, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody overthrows, okay? It's not just happening to your team. It's a comeback score on Minnesota Vikings, TJ. I hope JJ is going to get hyped up on the field before second half time running out, though. Man, I don't think so. That was their chance right there. They hit Naylor in stride for a touchdown, and you did not. You got to hit them throws, man. It just seemed like the inaccuracies of these young quarterbacks have been on full display, man. They have been on full display. Yeah, TJ is done tonight. Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, I think it's pretty much over and done with them boys, man. They it don't seem like it's their night. But last week, to be honest with you, that shouldn't have been their night. If we keeping it a buck, that shouldn't have been their night either. But they end up, taking advantage of some momentum against the Chicago Bears and end up coming away with that vic. But tonight is not their night, ladies and gentlemen. It looks pretty obvious here. I mean, it looks pretty obvious. You can see the rejection on the coach's face. Yeah, I mean, he looks totally dejected, man. Minnesota is over with tonight, TJ. Yeah, I think it's over with, man. It's a really good, solid defensive performance by Atlanta, but that throw by JJ McCarthy, I mean, that is the man. My goodness. You got to be able to make that throw, man. But it's been a rough night for old JJ. And once again, football is a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, he was on cloud 9 coming into this game. Everybody was singing his praises, and all of a sudden, I mean, he looked very off tonight. Looked like he can't hit the back of a barn door. They're definitely gonna have to go back to the drawing board on this one. I mean, this is a home game. You got the crowd behind you, but the crowd has been relatively quiet the entire game because Minnesota hasn't been able to do anything offensively, and then defensively, you're able to get stops, but I know the Minnesota wide receivers are frustrated. I mean, but that just happens like with young quarterbacks, man. Like you want to get these guys involved, but I think they still want to just kind of keep his confidence high, man. You don't want to keep on beating up on him. But time is indeed running out for Minnesota. They're gonna have to figure it out this, this chess game that Atlanta is running on them. All right, so Bijan Robinson leans forward, gets a few yards on the play, but once again, the clock just continues to tick. I mean, they're getting these quick reads out because, of course, if he holds on to the ball, they come in with the blitz. So that's the reason why he's getting it out with these two that within 2 and 3 seconds. All right, so here we go. Penix snaps, hands the ball off to Bijan. Bijan's full speed ahead. And I mean, his acceleration, man. I mean, from time he gets the ball and how he just explodes, up the middle. Yep. Like his acceleration is amazing. Like how he just able to find a hole and he just quickly runs right through it. Sorry about that yawn. It's getting a little late, folks. Getting a little late. All right. But this game has been going by like relatively fast, man. Not too many hiccups and has been causing the game to be stopped. All right, so Kyle Pitts in motion on a 3rd and 2. Here's the pressure. That pass is caught, and that is to Drake London. And he's been relatively quiet tonight, but he's able to convert on a 3rd and 2 to keep the chains moving. Really good play right there. Really good throw. All right, so off to Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier gets up the field. He tried to barrel forward, and there's a flag on the play. So let's see what this flag is all about. Holding on the offense, so that's going to be a 10-yard penalty. So it's going to push him back. So that works for the Minnesota Vikings. So you got a holding penalty on Matthews. Was able to hook the arms. You see Green hands go up to try to alert the referees that he was held. So here we go. It's a 1st and 20. All right, so here we go. All right, quick pass right there. That's to Drake London. Drake London gets around the middle, and that pass is caught, and that is a first down. He gets about 21 yards on the play. So I don't know if he thought he was going to get some help. All right, so on a 1st and 20, they're able to convert. All right, so here we go. Here's the handoff. This is off to Algier again. And Algier gets to midfield. I mean, so this game right here seems like, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion unless Minnesota is able to get a stop. But you got to give credit to the Atlanta Falcons. They're able to put before a really good defensive performance. Parker Romo kicked 5 field goals so far, and Minnesota has absolutely no answer offensively. And the crowd has been taken out of the game. They came to the game to try to cheer, but Atlanta has other things in mind. So credit to them. That's what you want to do. You want to jump on the home team quickly. You want to make sure that the crowd is not a factor, and you want to be able to run the football effectively and control the time of possession. And the Falcons have done that. The Falcons need to choke. Who do you think is the most impressive and disappointing team in the NFL for now, my friend? Who do I feel like is the most impressive team? Well, I mean, if you're looking at the most impressive team, it's kind of hard not to pick the Buffalo Bills. I mean, after that fourth quarter performance against Baltimore, where you had Derrick Henry running all over the place, and you had Zay Flowers had his career high in receiving yards, and you had Lamar Jackson out there running wild, and the defense for the most part was making plays and making your team a non-factor. And for them to be able to come back from 15 points down under 4 minutes of play in order for them to win that football game was pretty impressive. So I would have to say Buffalo, the most disappointing team in the NFL. If I was able to pick one, will probably have to be the New York Jets, man. I mean, the Jets, they signed Aaron Glenn as their new coach. They hired him. They got Justin Fields as their quarterback. It seemed like the offense was going to be trending in the right direction. Defensively, thought they had some pieces, but they just look like the same old Jets to me. Look like the same old team that they always been, losing football games. And today, I mean, they were just absolutely taken to the woodshed by the Buffalo Bills. Also, you have to give credit to the Indianapolis Colts. I think that they're an impressive team. If we're talking about a team, that nobody expected to be at the point of 2-0. I mean, Daniel Jones is the quarterback. They decided to roll with him instead of Anthony Richardson. A lot of people felt like maybe that wasn't a good idea, but Danny Dimes is proving that he can get it done, and maybe he just needed a change of scenery and not be in that New York market where people are sharks. But I give credit to the Colts as well. So those are the teams that I feel like are the most impressive and also, like I said, the most disappointed. I'll have to pick those teams. And also, I guess you have to put in a disappointment. You got to put the Kansas City Chiefs in there too. 0-2 for the first time since what, 2014? All right, so around the side goes Tyler Algier, and Algier fights and he gets out of bounds, gets the first down. And so right now, man, I mean, the defense of the Minnesota Vikings is running out of gas here. I mean, this is why you run the football in late parts of the game where you need to soak away the clock. You have yourself two big time running backs that's able to soak away the clock and, be able to, punch it in. And if they actually punch this in, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, it's pretty much good night, Irene, for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, 5 minutes left on the clock. Here's the handoff. This is also, again, to Tyler Algier. He makes somebody miss, breaks a free, and he gets down to the 20-yard line. So, like I said, right now, Minnesota's defense is on its heels. They are gassed, man. They've been on the field way too long. A lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of missed opportunities offensively, and it has caused the Minnesota Vikings defense to be out on the field. And I mentioned this earlier. When we get down to the third and fourth quarters, and these helmets been cracking, and these shoulder pads been cracking as well. Around third, fourth quarter, you don't want to be tackling nobody. All right. So anyway, here goes to another handoff. This is to Algier, and he gets around the side. They continue to run the football to soak away the clock. They know that they pretty much got everything in hand right now. I mean, they are running the football. They are imposing their will. They are imposing their will on the Minnesota Vikings. And even if they don't score a touchdown, I mean, this is really impressive. For me, this game needs to end. Vikings still have 6. Yep, still got 6. Man, I got to hear these Falcons mouth all at work tomorrow. Well, look, I had them winning this football game because I think people was talking about and put too much stock into JJ McCarthy and talk about that fourth quarter heroics. But I was like, man, people aren't taking into account how bad he looked in 3 quarters. In the 3 quarters of that game versus Chicago. So I actually had the Atlanta Falcons winning this football game. So I kind of saw this, man, because, like people have like recency bias, right? Like we only like start evaluating guys and looking at players based on the last thing that they did. If they end up like putting the ball into the end zone, doesn't matter if they had a mediocre game, doesn't matter if they weren't as impressive throughout the entire game. All people are going to remember are the last few minutes of the game. And if that said player end up making a play, then all of the bad things that he did throughout the game just completely get absolved. I don't think you need to look at football like that. I don't think you need to evaluate anybody like that. And what I seen in JJ McCarthy, I just seen a guy who rallied in the fourth quarter, but throughout the entire game, I seen a guy who had a lot of work that he needed to do. Shout out to the Minnesota defense. They played a great game. Holding a team to 15 points on 5 field goals is a masterclass. Not their fault. The offense was cheeks today. Yeah. I mean, they were a non-factor. They could do absolutely nothing in this game. I mean, this offense was sloppy. All right, so here we go. Battle of 0-2 teams. Who would have thought that? I mean, you would have thought that Kansas City would at least had a win. And then you have Russell Wilson and the New York Football Giants, man. So you got Patrick Mahomes going to the Meadowlands, taking on them Giants, who had scored 37 points today, man. Russell Wilson over 450 yards passing, turning back the clock. Already know how Berto going to be on Tuesday. Well, look, man, like ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, if he's excited about his team, I mean, he should be. All right. I mean, this was a really good performance tonight, man. We can hate on Atlanta all day, all night, but it was a really good performance tonight. Them running the football, playing really good defense, and keeping Minnesota out the end zone and making sure that their key players are not being a factor. And when you're running a football like this, I mean, I'm looking at these stats. Let me go ahead and refresh this. They're averaging 10 yards. Wait a minute. Excuse me. They're averaging 6.2 yards a carry. You got Bijan averaging 6 and Tyler Algier averaging 5.5, man. I mean, really good throws right there. So we got Boomer Esiason up there. Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. Like catching a pass from a lefty. Like my son, my son Paxton, he's left-handed. And it's kind of funny, like when you have to teach him certain things. It's like you have to teach him things backwards. Like if he's playing like baseball, here's the handoff to Bijan Robinson, cuts around the side. Ooh, man. I mean, this man in a phone booth, and this man got these boys in a blender. I mean, one, that's two. Man, it's crazy. That's insane. But anyway, when you're teaching left-handers like how to swing a bat or how to throw a football, like he be telling me he's trying to throw the ball right-handed. I'm like, well, you left dominant, so you're probably not going to be, as strong as throwing your ball with the right than it is with the left. Atlanta is controlling the tempo of this game. That's bad run defense. I mean, they've been trying to tackle these guys all night. They still running. I mean, it is what it is at this point, folks. All right, so they're going for it on 4th and inches here. If they get this, you pretty much know that this is indeed the game. All right, so in motion right there, trying to get them to jump. And did they jump? Yeah, they got it, man. Encroachment. Yep, and that pretty much sums up the game for the Minnesota Vikings. Close but no cigars. And now it's a first down. All right, so this pretty much is a wrap, folks. I mean, Redmond jumped and mm. All right, so here we go. All right, so here's the handoff off to Tyler Algier. He sneaks forward. And even if, they can't get into the end zone, which more than likely they will, I mean, this is more and more clock just continue to burn. Now I got to hear these loudmouth annoying Falcon fans all week. Well, I don't think nobody expected for the Atlanta Falcons not to win no games. But it was a really good, solid performance tonight, man. I mean, they took the crowd out of the game. I don't think Minnesota Vikings crowd was a factor at all tonight. All right, so here we go. Here's the handoff to Tyler Algier, and he just walks into the end zone for the touchdown. And that is pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it looked like they pretty much let them. Yeah. Mm-mm. Talking about letting them score. I don't think I would have let them score at a moment like this. And it's up, and it is good. Say snooze fest. turned off the lights. Arthur Blank down on the sideline. He excited about it. Then you can hear a pin drop. Man, this was a really impressive performance, man. Really good defense being played. Minnesota offense could do nothing tonight. I mean, absolutely nothing. And JJ McCarthy, 19 of 17, 124 yards, no touchdowns, turned the ball over twice. You got Jordan Mason, 9 carries for 30 yards. Aaron Jones, 5 carries for 23 yards. Justin Jefferson only had 2 receptions for 59 yards. Jalen Naylor, 3 catches for 31. I think if you go back to this game, I think everybody is going to be looking at that deep shot on third down that JJ McCarthy had Jalen Naylor wide open, and he just let the ball sail over his head. And the way that this game was going, like the momentum always seemed like it was on the side of Atlanta. Oh my God, Minnesota is over with tonight, TJ. I can't deal with at all. Just keep ignoring on these dirty birds. I don't see these dirty birds, and I don't want to hear these dirty birds at all. Well, look, man, they got a right to talk. They got a right to talk. TJ, did you watch the fight last night? Any thoughts? Oh, yeah, I did watch the fight. I thought that was a really good performance by Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford is what I've been saying that he is for I don't know how long, since he fought Gamboa a couple of years back. I was like, man, this dude is special. And people were like, oh, man, he wasn't that good. And people start falling for that social media stuff, talking about Errol Spence. Oh, man, he can't rock with Spence. He can't mess with Spence. And I was telling people, I'm like, man, this dude is on a different level. He goes up in there, he fights Errol Spence, beats the brakes off of him. I mean, in a decisive way. Then people want to bring up the Errol Spence accident. Okay. So then he fights Canelo. Oh, man, he moving up 2 weight classes. He ain't going to be able to deal with that. Goes out there and just basically dissects Canelo Alvarez. So, yeah, man, credit to Bud Crawford. I mean, I've been a Bud Crawford fan for I don't know how long. Been singing that dude praises for years. So it's not a surprise to me at all how special this dude is as a boxer. It's just great to see that he's finally getting the recognition and attention that he deserves. But ain't nothing wrong with Canelo, man. I mean, he lost, but he definitely gained. Canelo Alvarez gained $120 million from that fight. And Terrence Bud Crawford got 50 mil off the fight. So both guys won. It doesn't matter. Jeremiah, I may not show for the round table Tuesday night. Nah, don't be like that, man. I said, don't be like that now. Don't be like that. Don't be like that, man. Like don't we can't be like that, Jerry. We got to show up in victory and defeat, you know? We got to be able to take our medicine too, man. So we're gonna sit up there and talk about how bad they are. But I mean, y'all, if you watch the roundtable, I already said that the Falcons gonna win this game. So it's not a shock to me. It's not a shock to me at all. All right, so here we go. JJ McCarthy. And he throws, and that pass is incomplete. I mean, this is just a rough night for JJ, man. But this just shows you like the roller coaster of emotions, man. Like you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are. You're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are. Yeah, but we're not gonna Dallas Cowboy this thing. Like we're gonna talk noise. You gotta be able to talk noise in victory and defeat. All right, so here we go. McCarthy all day, all night, all afternoon. That pass is caught finally to TJ Hawkinson, who has been quiet as a church mouse tonight. I say I haven't heard them call his name in a minute. rivalry deal with these fans Tuesday night? I don't know. Well, I mean, look, we'll be there on the NFC South Roundtable on Tuesday night. Win, lose, or draw. All right, so here we go. Looking. And he throws down the field. That pass is caught, and that's to Justin Jefferson. That's enough for a first down. So right now, they're going to have to hustle up, hurry up. And if you are the Minnesota Vikings, you're trying to score before the 2-minute warning because you're relying on an onside kick, which is very rare to get in the NFL, even though Carolina was able to get one today. All right, so here we go. On the hop. Gets around the side, looking, throws the ball down the field, and that pass is intercepted. And that is all right. So here we go. He's waving, but it looks like it. And that is good night, Irene. So a legal shift. He throws an interception. I believe JJ McCarthy thought that it was on the defense. So he ended up throwing it down the field thinking that it's a free play, but instead he gets an interception. So tough night for the rookie quarterback, even though he's in his second year. He's a rookie as a starter. And Justin Jefferson is looking like, man, what in the world, man, is going on? Just absolutely just dissected. Really good performance right there by the defense, man. Really good defensive performance by the Atlanta Falcons tonight. You got to give them credit where credit is due. JJ McCarthy needs to go back to the board. I think this is probably the best thing that could have happened to him. Everybody, you were the toast of the town last week. Everybody's calling you a franchise quarterback, and then you go out here and put forth a stinker of a performance. I mean, the absolute stinker. All right, so here we go. Got him on the double move right there. Got away with some holding, and he ripped him on his jersey. They didn't call it, which they should have, but at the end of the day, got to play till the whistle blows, man. And that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. So all Atlanta really has to do right now is maybe get one more first down, take a knee, and this game is pretty much over. Minnesota is completely disappointed and fluke game tonight. They ran these people in the ground. Man, they destroyed, like their defense was just on the field way too much. And JJ McCarthy, I don't think a lot of people like really pay that much attention to when these centers, like, when Kelly went down. When Kelly went down, man, that was huge. And when you have somebody out there with your quarterback, a young quarterback that's able to go out there and call protections and make sure that your quarterback is put in the right position. When that guy goes out, he left with a concussion, and Juergens came in. I mean, that was somebody that you could rely on. When Ryan Kelly went out, I think that was a huge blow to Minnesota because, Ryan Kelly is responsible for calling out the protections for Minnesota. So you basically left JJ McCarthy out there on his own to try to go after a Jeff Albrecht's defense and pretty much had him on his heels and had him dazed and confused all night long. The Bears game was an absolute fluke. Yeah, it definitely was. Dude just threw a pick. Where's the mercy rule? And look, I want to make this thing clear now, folks. All right. For all those out there that was going in on my boy Spencer Rattler, just know this. Just know this. All right. Now y'all see tonight. Okay, man, JJ McCarthy, man, we need a first-round quarterback, man. We need a quarterback, dog. First-round quarterback. Okay. Take a look at tonight. So don't matter. You can be a 5th-round draft pick. You can be a 1st-round draft pick. But guess what? Ladies and gentlemen? You still can have a bad night. And this is not an indicator of who JJ McCarthy is. And I would feel bad if Minnesota fans would do this to JJ McCarthy. Look at him having one bad game and just sit up here and say, oh, nah, he ain't it. At least LSU won. Yep. And shouts out to my Jackson State Tigers beating the brakes off the Tuskegee Golden Lions or Golden Tigers out there, excuse me, showing them who the real Tigers is. Shouts out to my wife. I know she was upset. She was mad. I had to mess with her. Had to let her know. Still, I love her, but they got to get that work. Tuskegee had to get the work. All right, but anyway, they're running the football. This is a third down. And now we look at Atlanta. Look like they can, maybe go on a bit of a 2-game winning streak. You got Carolina, who I don't know what to think about them. And then you got Washington, who you got Jaden Daniels, man, dealing with an injury. So how would that affect them playing against the Washington Commanders? And that game is going to be in Atlanta. So then they have a bye, a very early bye. All right, so here we go. Tyler Algier is able, and he's short of the first down. So, I mean, you can punt the football, but by the time Minnesota gets the football, it's probably going to have about 30-something seconds left on the clock. I mean, just complete frustration by Minnesota. I mean, they're frustrated, man. They feel like this could be a game they could have won, but it was just bad execution tonight. JJ McCarthy showed that he was young and inexperienced. And Kevin O'Connell is trying to talk to him. You got to make sure that, like I say, you're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are. And, sometimes you can be the hero one week and be the GOAT the next. I'm talking lowercase GOAT, not uppercase. Rattler deserves a better defense. Great point, TJ. Yeah, I mean, it's just the truth, man. That's why you got to give these young quarterbacks some grace. Like, as a fan base, sometimes like everybody wants the quarterback to be everything that they want them to be right away. I don't just be saying this stuff, man, just to say it. Like, we look at guys like, Jaden Daniels. We look at, the Cam Newtons, or we look at CJ Stroud. Like, we look at all these quarterbacks who have had instant success. And then all of a sudden, like, we basically put that into our subconscious and we look like, oh, well, if my quarterback don't look like that guy, then he's not good enough. Like, all of these quarterbacks, for the most part, except for the elite ones, are trying to figure it out. They're trying to find their way in the National Football League. But you have 3 turnovers in this game tonight by JJ McCarthy. So to me, like, the game has been an absolute disaster. And he has to go back to the drawing board. And that's a fumble. And that's picked up. I mean, that just puts the nail. That just puts the nail in the coffin for the night. I mean, that pretty much sums up the entire night right there. I mean, this is just one of the, man. This is just, one of the worst performances I think I've seen in a while. I mean, I give credit to Atlanta, but Minnesota pretty much gift wrapped this game for them. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Atlanta Falcons dominate the Minnesota Vikings tonight, 22-6. 22-6. A field goal fest. But nonetheless, it's still points, by the way. So the Atlanta Falcons move to 1-1, and the Minnesota Vikings move to 1-1. You got the Carolina Panthers up next for the Atlanta Falcons, and for the Minnesota Vikings, they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. All right. So They can get back on a winning track. More than likely, they won't be facing Joe Burrow. They'll be facing Jake Browning. So they have to face another Washington quarterback the next week. But hopefully this time you actually get the best of that, that Washington quarterback. Let's see, like Mr. Omar said, tragic. Horrible, Jerry. Give us the Vikings and give Atlanta the Niners. Well, they're going to have to play them. They're going to have to play the Niners down the stretch. 3 yards in a cloud of dust football. Hey, anything you got to do to win, don't matter. Anything you can do to win. Said the Panthers suck. Hey, it is what it is, man. Look, I'm going to give credit tonight that the Minnesota Vikings just didn't have an answer for the Atlanta Falcons. I thought that was a pretty impressive performance defensively. They were able to do some really good things. They confused the young quarterback, JJ McCarthy. He was responsible for 3 turnovers. Nobody was really a factor in this game at the wide receiver position. Guys made plays for Minnesota, but I mean, it was a lot of garbage time type stats that made it look even more respectable. The wide receivers of the Atlanta Falcons really didn't knock anybody's socks off either. But the running game was key in this game. You have Bijan, 22 carries for 143 yards. Tyler Algier, 16 carries for 76 yards. They ran the ball 39 times for 218 yards. So they realized what the game plan was, which was run the football, play good defense, and control the time of possession. I'm giving the Falcons 0 credit. TJ, I still need you to roast their offense on the round table. Well, look, it was an impressive performance. I'm sorry, man. I can't, like, as far as the wide receivers and not being able to cash in the red zone, yes, got to work on that. But I'd rather be able to work on things in victory than defeat. I mean, in red zone, what were they? In the red zone, they were 1 for 5. They were 1 for 5 in the red zone. And Minnesota, they didn't even get to the red zone. They only got there once. They were 0-1. So, yeah, it just wasn't what you wanted. A rough night for the Minnesota Vikings. But, I mean, they can find a way to try to get back to their winning ways against Cincinnati on next week. And the Atlanta Falcons look to go to another divisional opponent in the Carolina Panthers next week to try to go on a little bit of a winning streak here. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of NFL podcast. I ask that you hit the like button if you enjoy the content. I really appreciate that. Make sure that you follow me on X at TJAYJones8. And also you can check out more episodes of the State of the NFL throughout the week as we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the National Football League. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.